the night and the Gemini crew. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world, give this page another turn, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Everything's alright when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Giving the world light when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Sometimes things are just absurd, so let's just talk about the world, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world, give this page another curl, 'cause you're here with us tonight.
I bid you all good morning, good evening, good night. Bon dia, boa tarde, boa noite. Buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Wherever you're watching this transmission, it is I, Mike Martins. The date today is March the 7th, 2020, and things are getting kind of hectic. Hectic, you say? Well, you know why they're getting hectic? It's because our friend COVID is making its rounds around the world. Oh yeah. You're tuned into Mike in the Night pre-show. We start the show at 9 p.m. So we'll cover a bit of news, bit of discussion here before we get into getting some calls into the show. The Mike in the Night pre-show. So you'll hear the song again at 9 o'clock. And going over to the comments here. We got TJH in the comments. Kevin Tavares. Beyond the Pale. Boa Noite Mike. We got all kinds of people in the comments. Ben North. Fred Flintstone. Everybody in the comment section. Guys, don't forget to sit back. Crack a window open. It's actually pretty warm, so I got the window open here. Luckily, my neighbor's not cutting his grass. Crack a bottle of sparkling water. Recline that chair. Whether you're watching us in your condo in the sky or your cabin in the woods, you are tuned in to Mike in the Night. Dim them lights, light a candle. Heck, maybe put up some incense. Oh, yeah. All right, guys, what do we got going on? Let's go over some channel news now on the pre-show here. Guys, I want to thank everyone that's been joining the channel. I appreciate that. Wow, I got a couple of new people joining the channel, helping with that. Guys, don't forget to check out my coronavirus video that I made, where I got a compilation of all over the world. I even threw myself in there. People fighting over toilet paper here, like literally, like we're talking about battle royale. Okay, we got to call the security. So that was pretty bad, and then we got like all kinds of compilations there if you guys want to share that and get it out. First video here. Then we got G.I. Jose. We know enough. What are they telling us or what are they not telling us? And why are they just telling this in pieces and not telling us the whole thing? Then we got baggage handlers. Baggage handlers at Heathrow Airport at risk. They are handling someone's baggage and they are, a majority of them, tested positive for coronavirus. COVID. Then we got COVID in Iceland. And we were following Iceland on our map because it's such an isolated area that you wouldn't think you would get a pandemic or an outbreak in a country that's kind of somewhat isolated, with a smaller population, COVID-19 on the brink. Lots of videos. A lot of COVID videos this week, guys. Guys, let me go over here to the videos here. Watching Mike in the Night. Oh, don't forget to watch my video, my electricity issues I'm having at the store. Just watch the video. I'm not going to get mad tonight over that. G.I. Jose is really good. I even got this at the beginning, so... Guys, I'm just chilling out here outside the store. Yeah, check it out, guys. We got people fighting over toilet paper. More electricity problems. Another rate cut. Housing taken off. Australians panic. Toilet paper ration. Toilet paper bandit is back at it again. We got, what do we got going on here? Guys, also, hold on, let's go. Playlists, guys, if you're bored, honestly, if you want to binge watch my Project Tabletop or the Merit Harassment series. It's got 32 videos. It's really good. I opened a business in town similar to someone else's, and man, was that ever the biggest mistake I ever made in my life. What else? All kinds of cool stuff to binge watch on the channel if you guys want to watch. Guys, don't forget, I'm still on Patreon. I'm getting more and more people joining me on Patreon. Go ahead and join me on Patreon if you'd like. I'm also on Instagram. I'm going to give you guys my Instagram if you guys want to message me show tips on there. And my Instagram is tied to my Facebook page. So if you want to go to Facebook and message me there, people have been sending me show tips. And man, I got some show tips today that were sent to me from Italia, from Giovanni Capobianco. In Italy, in northern Italy, sent me a couple of important messages that he wants me to relay here on the show. What else? We got, yeah, if you want to pick up a Mike in the Night mug or something, I'm also on Teespring. And if you want to shoot a tip in the tip jar, all links are found on top of the channel right here. Right at the top here. Yep, there we go. Live now. 64 watching, guys. Don't forget to set your reminders to our shows. Please don't forget, so you don't miss out on what's happening, because everybody is part of this channel. Everybody makes this channel. This is like a community channel. You know when you have community cable and they ask you to call in to give your advice on what to do, or they're trying to give you advice on how to take care of something? Well, this is basically what this is. I guess, you know, not a lot of people watch, but the people that do want to watch is there for them, right? Serious commentary. Is it a bad time for me to be selling my house in the USA? No, it's not a bad time, but if you need to sell, you got to sell, right? We got Hammond Eggerson saying, hey, hi, Mike. Hi, Merit Mike. We got David Xavier in the house, Jordan Retro in the house. We got Fred Flintstone in the house, who is very bored. W. Pizzette's in the house. Who else we got in the house tonight? Wow. Well, we are taking off. Brian C. is in the house, saying melody. Okay, what else we got? We got a lot, guys. So here it goes, man. Let's get into a bidding news right now. Before we go into anything else, let's just go check out our COVID map right now. We're at 106,000 right now. So I remember how I said China, like China could go to hell. I really don't care what China says or what China is telling us that's happening. We had to wait. So we started on the ground floor 2.5, maybe 3 Mike in the Nights ago. You can go back and watch the shows. They're there. South Korea was at 51 cases. So I said, okay, let's stick with South Korea. I have a feeling they'll be more transparent. 2.5 weeks later, okay, maximum 3 weeks later, max 3 weeks. They're sitting at 7,100. Italy, 5,800. Iran, 5,800. France is approaching 1,000. Germany is approaching 1,000. Spain is approaching like 550. Japan, 461. United States, 428. Like 4 days ago, it was around 100 cases. You gotta be kidding me. 428 in the United States of America. Well, I think the U.S. is doing a lot more than Canada is. In Canada, they're just handing out flyers to people at the airports, just arming them with flyers. But in the U.S., they stopped flights from China. They stopped flights from all these other countries. They've put a hold on everything. You know what I'm saying? Guys, we got Just Cringe Diversity Channel on the in the comments. Guys, check out the channel, Just Cringe Diversity Channel, saying hello, Mike. I'm gonna add him as a moderator. Guys, check him out, please. Just Cringe Diversity Channel. Please check out his channel. Probably get him back on the show. If he can come on the show when he can, to give us a little bit of an insight on what's happening with CV, our friend COVID-19. So, okay, so America's at 4. I thought they were around 100 and something. Is it because now they're testing more people? Or is it because they have test kits in? Are they diagnosing these people with proper tests? What's the turnaround time for the test to come back? Holy crap, 428 in the United States. So let's see what they say here. So they got 17 deaths. I know there was a couple in Florida. Oh, they're not even putting the 2 deaths in, because they're showing 15 deaths in King County, Washington. 15 deaths in King County, Washington. I'll tell you guys why. The West Coast is the gateway to China. It's for the Orient. Let's say the Orient is the whole West Coast right here is the gateway to the Orient. So you will have a lot. I think California is just going to blow right up the second. The whole West Coast is going to blow right up, and New York too. So look at that, guys. Let's look at the United States here. Wow. So you got Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Washington. There's a lot of foreign home ownership in those areas. So you got to remember, guys, a lot of people during that Lunar New Year got out of Dodge. And I'm not talking about Dodge Detroit. They got out of Dodge Wuhan. We got Terry Tony in the house. USA citizens are being very protective, advising each other, warning who they can, being persistent. That's very good. Guys, we need to be persistent with this, guys. Persistent when you just keep coming back and telling everyone, no matter what they tell you. Because this might be a lot bigger than what we could fathom. So here it is, guys. Man, 428 in America. It was like 113, like not even a few days ago last time we did Mike in the Night. Okay, so Singapore, Australia's at 63. I'm very surprised Australia's only at 63. Mind you, it isn't flu season yet in Australia. It's still summer. They got, hold on, we're in March. We're getting spring here in 2 weeks because it's really nice here. It's beautiful. I'm going to cut my grass this weekend and fertilize my lawn. But I'm just trying to think here. Let me think here. Australia is going to go into fall in a week and a half. Okay, they're going to be entering flu season in about 5 weeks in Australia. I think that's when things are going to hit the fan there. Okay, Daniel O'Brien's giving us some inside information saying what blew up the numbers in Seattle was they had a sporting event people went to. Yeah, sure. But the problem is who brought it to Seattle? Doesn't matter. It's who brought it to Seattle. That's the question. Right? If nobody brought it to Seattle, you could have a gazillion, a vermillion, a trillion sporting events and nobody will get sick. Right? Kuwait's got their numbers. Canada only at 54. Wow. That's pretty good for Canada, you know, like very, very good for Canada. The 54 is not that, you know, not as bad, you know, as these other countries. Okay, we got Iraq, we got Thailandia, Iceland. Wow, Iceland's at 50. We covered Iceland. We covered Iceland at my store when I did some quick videos. Iceland was at 31, then it went up to 42, 41. Now it's at 50. Portugal's at 20 now. Russia's at 13. Brazil's at 13. Ecuador 13. Croatia 12. Macau 10. Argentina 9, Azerbaijan 9, Chile. But you see some countries on here, like Afghanistan, like it's good that they're testing, and it's good that they're actually getting on board with testing and stuff. Because everything you see here with one is basically they're starting out. They don't know who's infected. Like this guy in Sri Lanka. We've been watching this one case in Sri Lanka now for 3 weeks. It's still one case. If you guys remember 3 weeks ago on Mike in the Night, Sri Lanka had one case, and we've been following that one case. Let's go over to Sri Lanka here on the map so you guys can see where it is. Its capital is Colombo. It's down here. Here it is. So they still have their one case in this island here. So I'm following that. I was following that in Iceland. We started following South Korea, and we started following South Korea, and it's like it's going to be 10,000 by 3 days, 2-3 days from now. Okay, let me just get myself adjusted here on my adjustable chair here. All right, let's go over some news before we get back to that map. Italy places Milan region under quarantine as first COVID-19 linked death reported in Latin America. Live updates. So that's not good. Hold on, guys. I'm getting a really bad connection here. Let me see if I could... Let's see if I'm going to turn off my phone here. So I'm going to power off my phone here real quick. Just real quick. I'm not getting a good connection, so I'm not sure why. Okay. Terry Tony's got self-isolating might be necessary. That's actually a pretty big deal. I actually have an article that ties to what Terry's saying here from Giovanni Capobianco, who lives in northern Italy, sent me an email and a link to a story that he really wants me to share tonight about self-isolation, and it's big. Let's go over some news first. Saudi Arabia starts all-out oil war. MBS destroys OPEC by flooding the market, slashing oil prices. Forbidden parenting. I don't know what that means. Joe Biden in 2020 duplicates Hillary in 2016. The voters don't understand how politics actually works. In today's America, they think that winning the current general election is a party's official top priority. Elon Musk says panic about coronavirus, which has killed over 3,400, is dumb. How to avoid getting infected by the coronavirus. Forget COVID-19. San Diego faces critical quake danger from long inactive fault line. I had a friend down on the Mexico-Tijuana border, the San Diego-Tijuana border. He lives on the Mexican side because he can't afford to live in America anymore. And he told me that they had this really massive earthquake. He said he's okay. He said it really shook things up. So we got Tignim in the house. We got Fred Flintstone in the house. Temporary forced isolation, says Pilatos. Okay, so let's keep going here with the news. Amtrak suspends some non-top Alke service due to virus. It's like scenes from Mad Max movie. Americans continue to run on Costco. And then more Clinton stuff. Bill Clinton boffed Monica to manage anxiety. So what was Hillary doing? Fed Chair Powell confirms Fed's role as the greatest enabler, the great enabler. We are in an adverse feedback loop. How to track the coronavirus hit the U.S. consumer spending. U.S. blocks UN sentiment backing Russia. Brokered ceasefire in Syria. And police quarantine California neighborhood after coronavirus death. AOC encourages illegal to participate in 2020 census. Yeah, I hope she could find a cure. Like, if it's anyone that could find a cure for something, it'd be I think she'd be like top, right at the top to give out ideas, you know? All right, let's move on. Okay, here's the article that was sent to me by Giovanni Capobianco, and he basically sent me this and wanted me to read this to you guys. This is 100% true. It was posted 2 days ago on March 5th, 2020. Coronavirus patient 0 in Italy. So not patient 0 as in China, or the patient 0 in India, or patient like the first patient that gets confirmed. Coronavirus patient 0 in Italy was a Pakistani and you guys understand that you need to understand that YouTube needs to allocate they need to allocate the resources on YouTube to more important channels. So people need to start we need to start pouring gravy down our pants on the channel so that our channel doesn't get shut down. Pouring gravy down your pants is what people need to see on a regular basis. Bad internet, yeah, I know. Frozen, lag, yeah, it should be back up and running. Again, YouTube, allocates, I got an email like 3 months ago that they're allocating bandwidth to more important channels, right? So, yeah. Just refresh, guys. I'm back. Okay, health authorities asked the man to quarantine himself at his home in the Pavia area for 2 weeks, but he ignored the request and continued to work as at a Chinese restaurant. He then compounded the risk of spreading the virus by making home deliveries of Chinese food. Authorities were alerted to the situation, and the military intervened to return the man to his home. So the guy that sent me this article actually told me he knows the place. He doesn't know exactly who the guy is, but he knows of the guy. Like, he knows of the guy because they were talking about him at work, right? The Carabinieri have been busy reconstructing all the movements of the young man. So they are backtracking every order that was made and trying to find out where this guy delivered food to, right? So, in order to identify as many people as possible with whom he came into contact. In the meantime, the military has closed the Chinese restaurants. Reports Free West Media. The migrant now faces up to 3 months in jail for failing to self-isolate under Article 650 of the Italian Penal Code. 3 months? You get 12 years in jail. Who knows how many... Italy has recorded more than 3,000 cases of the coronavirus and 148 people have died. The country was the primary source of the virus spreading to numerous other European countries. So Italy is, yes, the primary source to spread to other European countries. This is patient 0, guys, in Italy, okay? But I have somebody on Facebook that's denying what this article, but I mean, the guy that sent me the article has no reason whatsoever to Okay, that's literally how patient 0 works. You can't have any certainty that he's the first because the disease started in China. No, I see here, guys, let me explain to you. So, okay. Never mind the patient 0 thing. What they're trying to say is patient 0, we're not talking about patient 0 in Italy. In Italy. Not patient 0 of the whole virus from the beginning. We're talking about the first patient that came in the airport or something, was checked and was told to self-isolate. Okay? Never mind patient 0. Okay? And I have confirmation from somebody. Let's look at the article from Free West Media too. So here it is. Oh, PewDiePie, I guess, is reporting this too. No, this is something else, this other news feed. But to be frank with you guys, so this was sent to me by Giovanni Capobianco, and he watches the show, and he watches it. He says the hours are weird. It's really early in the morning, but he watches this on replay in Italy. So he told me, and he specifically told me that he knows this restaurant. He knows everything. So he's in his house. He said he's been in his house for 10 days. He hasn't left now. He said he self-quarantined himself even before they were telling people to self-quarantine. So we got 7 confirmed cases in Colorado, says Lord Humongous. And we got Mike Banks in the house as usual. Mike Banks is always here. Kia is asking, Mike, how bad is this for the real estate market for Ontario? It depends. Because Canada is not stopping people from coming in, I don't think it will have too much of an impact right away, because a lot of people are just going to come in, and Canada is like basically giving them flyers at the airport. Giving people flyers at the airport is probably the most important thing you could ever do in the history of mankind. Yeah, the real estate market is a lagging indicator. It takes a time for the real estate market to start kicking in. Costco's stocks are doing well. Costco's doing well all this last week in sales, man. Coronavirus live updates. Italy locks down much of its north as Europe's outbreak worsens. The restrictions affected Milan and the industrial regions that serve as Italy's economic engine and the most sweeping measures outside of China. Italy's prime minister announces much of the country's north will be locked down. Italy's locking down much of the north economic engine. New York State declares an emergency and cases rise to 89. Attendee of a conservative conference where Trump and Pence spoke test positive. Ooh. The U.S. count passes 400 with trouble spots on a cruise ship off California and a Starbucks in Seattle. I was going to read that today. I said, I'm going to read it tonight on the show. Living the ideal life on the Grand Princess. Outbreak on the Nile tourism boat suggests broader danger. So Italy's having a really tough time, man. These jewelers, these high-end markets, lots of tourism, and this is getting pretty dangerous. Things are getting dangerous. Superhero reviews. We got a damn second case in New York City, North Carolina, NC, North Carolina yesterday. We got Johnny D says quarantining Milan. That's huge. Yeah, it is huge. Shutting down an entire G7 nation, northern part of the G7 nation, most productive part of a G7 nation, is huge. Owen saying digital currency. Yeah, they're going to blame currency for a spread of it through currency and get rid of currency and take everybody's money from their bank accounts once they digitize. Who says? Why? Okay, guys, almost 9 o'clock for the actual Mike in the Night show kickoff. You are watching the Mike in the Night pre-show. So let's do this. Mike in the Night. 9 o'clock. Here we go.
Gemini King, Mike in the Night, and the Gemini crew. Ooh. Ooh. Night, you're here with Mike in the Night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the Night. Let's just talk about the world. Give this page another turn, 'cause you're here with us tonight.
The Corona crew. Gemini crew.
Everything's alright when you're here with Mike in the Night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the Night. Giving the world light when you're here with Mike in the Night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the Night. Sometimes things are just absurd, so let's just talk about the world, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the Night. You're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world. Give this page another curl, 'cause you're here with us tonight.
I bid you all good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. It is Mike in the Night. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It is 9 p.m. and it is midnight in Miami, in New York, in Toronto, and it's like 3 in the morning in the UK, and it is like 2 p.m. Sunday afternoon in Australia. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Whether you're watching us in your condo in the sky, your box in the sky, or your cabin in the woods, or you're watching us, heck, maybe you're just streaming us off the Wi-Fi while you're in your car at a Walmart parking lot. Welcome one, welcome all. Sit back, recline your chair, dim your lights, crack a window, and get some sparkling Perrier water, because you're tuned in to Mike in the Night. Okay, guys, big show ahead for you guys. Big show ahead for you guys. Thanks, whoever tuned into the pre-show. Thanks for tuning in. We got a lot of people starting to come in at 9 o'clock because the show is scheduled to start at 9. And what else we got going on? So we got a lot of messages here coming in from everybody. So we're going to try. I'm going to see if I can get the three guys right games podcasting on the show. I hope I can get him on. If I can. I really want to get him with the Raven on the show, so they could go on toe-to-toe and give us a little bit of debating on what's happening, right? I honestly think, now I'm going to tell you what I think about this coronavirus. It's an accident. They were screwing around with this crap in some laboratory somewhere in China. They started screwing around with this. They ended up having an earthquake second week of November in Wuhan. You could check. They had a 5.0 earthquake, and things really shook things up real big. Something fell off a table, off a side of a table or something, got swept under, kind of cleaned it up and mopped it up, and nobody thought nothing of it. I'm going to be really frank with you guys. I think it's just an accident. I think this is real. I think the problem is real. I don't think it was purposely released at some food market in China somewhere. I think they were working on it as a bioweapon, but the poop hit the fan. Right? Okay, so I'm going to look up some ring bell sound effects. So I'm going to get some sound effects here. Just a little bell. I just want to get a little bell here for like a ring, like a wrestling ring. And just to kind of add some oh, they want me to download crap. They could go to hell. All right, forget it. I should have did a pre-show. No big deal. Okay. Poop hit the soup, said Lord Humongous. Stefan saying, is your Skype on, Mike? Yes, it is. My Skype is on. I set it to invisible because I was just getting bombarded by phone calls the last couple. I have it set to invisible. Let's go to active. There we go. I'm active now. Man, I just got bombarded with so many calls, and I had to kind of hide it. I'd like to hear more about the BC ferries and the virus. There is a ferry running daily from Seattle to Victoria. What is BC ferries doing to prevent the spread of infection? Nothing. They're giving people flyers at the airport. That's it. That's it. And you know why the show hasn't been shut down or my videos have been deleted? Because I'm not lying. That's exactly what they're doing. They're arming people with pamphlets or flyers or whatever the hell you want to call it. Okay, let's get our first caller in. There's a lot of people here in the comments here. Wait. I want to get this guy on. Okay. Wow. All right. Wow. All right. I'm just gonna get my man Elijah on first right now. He keeps sending me a lot of information, which is really good. Okay, he sent me this. I mean, wow. Purell hand sanitizer, $69.99. Unfortunately, due to the supply and shortages beyond our control, prices on corona-related items have become very expensive. Please check the pricing before you leave the store, as we cannot accept these items back under normal return policy. We apologize for the inconvenience. Stay healthy. $69.99 for a bottle of Purell disinfectant. $69.99. This is not 69 pesos. This is $69. This ain't 69 pesos. Holy crap. All right, we got Lord Humongous. Let me get Lord Humongous on real quick first, because he told me, and I want to get Anthony on the show too, from Detroit, to give us a little bit of insight. I'm getting bombarded with messages. That should be my wallpaper, man. Holy crap. All right, let's get Lord on the show. Lord, start getting ready there. I'm going to get you on the show first, because I know you're in the humongous wasteland there. And someone's, Stefan saying, learn to distill. Yeah, and David Xavier is saying that's 69 billion Zimbabwe dollars. The Grizz says on Amazon it's $350 for 2 bottles. Wow, I have... Where's my bottle? I have one here. Got one right here. I mean, I have one beside me. I have my disinfectant wipes here to wipe down my stuff, my microphone, my keyboard, and I'm keeping it as kosher as humanly possible. Yes, cheaper to buy vodka, says Winston Smith's brain. Raj Ho saying marriage should be infection-free. It's a stopover place. People stop over, right? Yeah, tonight is daylight savings time. It is spring here, though. I mean, we're getting daylight savings time. I got to cut my grass this weekend, so it is nice here. It's been really nice here. Let me get... Lord Humongous has been floating around a lot of channels lately, getting the down low on this. Let's see what he has to say. Yep, no dice. Lord's away. Okay, guys, the guy that's selling the toilet paper, I covered that today on the channel under videos. You'll see it here. $100 a roll toilet paper, and I did cover that today. I was disgusted when I saw this guy here. I think his name is Chu or something. I think his name was Chu. Here he is, right here. He was selling toilet paper on Craigslist or something, or one of those... Man, I got Anthony messaging me a lot. Let me see if I can get Anthony on the show then. Where is he? Anthony. Here he is. Let me call him. My nose is itchy, man. Hope I'm not getting COVID here tonight. No answer, anyone. Everyone's messaging me, but no one's answering. Well, he's sending me stuff about COVID-19 in South America. No one's answering tonight. I guess everyone's out and about, enjoying their Saturday night, having fun. Here we go. Let's get Owen on the phone. I haven't heard from him in a week. I know it's midnight there, so let's bother Owen. Nobody's picking picking up tonight, guys. Nobody is picking up the phone tonight. Nobody is picking up the phone. Holy crap. Ah, here we go. We got Liam. Let's get him on. He's in Southeast China. Southeast Asia. Pick it up!
Hello.
Yo, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Okay, what's going on, buddy? I know you're in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
All right. Like, I mean, I just saw America's number. I mean, what was it? A few days ago, America was just around 80, 90 cases. They're like floating around 500 all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's really starting to ramp up now, these countries. The big one I've noticed is Germany. Germany is 800 now.
Okay, let me see here. Germany. Yeah, 800. It just 800 on the nose. And then you got Iran with 5,800. You got Italy 5,800. And then the two I'm watching very close now after those blew up. I'm watching Iceland and I'm watching Sri Lanka.
Iceland 50, and how many does Sri Lanka have?
One. It's had one for 3 weeks.
So why are you so concerned about Sri Lanka?
Well, what are they up to? Like, are they giving us the numbers? Have they found a way to completely quarantine this? They've had a case now for 3 weeks, and that one case recovered, and they have zero happening right now. So
The one that I'm really concerned about is India, because India's got how many billions in India? Is it?
Oh, no, I'm not. No. It's not that I'm not. The reason why I'm following Sri Lanka is because they've had a case for 3 weeks now. One case. And
Okay.
they cured that one case. And what are they doing? How are they confining?
But what was that one case? There's someone that came over on an airplane and then they I don't know, did they catch them quickly or were they walking around the
That's
street?
what they said when I read the article, yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I want to know what they're doing there, because they're stuck at one. Because when I was looking at Iceland, they had like one case for like 2 weeks in a row, and then after you get 12, then 22, then 35. Now they're at 50.
Yeah, I'm shocked, man. I'm really shocked at this. Well, I'm really shocked at I just noticed about Italy is locking down the cities, right? And locking down northern Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Are you shocked about that? I'm pretty shocked about that.
I'm shocked because, like I said, it's a G7 nation. The North is very productive, and them to shut that down, I think is if they have to. And then I read this article that was sent to me from someone from northern Italy. His name is Giovanni Capobianco. Thank you for sending me this. Coronavirus patient zero in Italy. The zero, I guess the first patient they found in Italy was a Pakistani migrant who refused to self-isolate. And the military actually had to go find this guy. And the problem with this was he was actually delivering Chinese food for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And now they have to go back to every order that was taken, right? Every order that
Yeah.
was taken to actually backtrack all the people he delivered food to.
Yeah.
They told him they had to self-quarantine. He tested positive for the virus, and he basically now he's in jail. He's in jail. He's going to serve 3 months for breaking a penal code, Italian like law or something.
Did you hear the rumors coming from Thailand about if you're entering Thailand from a high-risk country, they will quarantine you on arrival?
Wow.
But it was kind of like backpedaled. I'm not too sure what the official news is now, but they were saying that no matter who you are, whether you're a tourist or you're on business or whatever your reason is for coming to Thailand, if you're arriving from a high risk country, and I think there's about 7 or 8, 9 countries that was on the list, that you would be quarantined for 14 days. So imagine you're going there on holiday, right? And then suddenly, sorry, sir, you've just come from a high risk country. You need to come with me for 14 days.
But then what if that puts you at a higher risk because you're
Well,
probably
yeah,
with
because
somebody
you
else
haven't
that
even
has
got
it and you
anything.
get it.
Well, yeah, exactly. You haven't even got anything, and then you're just being shoved in some military base or wherever you're being sent to.
Wow. So here it is. Total reaches 50 as 2 more coronavirus cases confirmed in Thailand. This is from 3 hours ago, so it could be 55 by now. And total reaches 50 as 2 more coronavirus cases confirmed in Thailand. The Ministry of Public Health today confirmed, again, both cases are Thai men who recently returned from Italy. Wow. So Italy is really okay, I know it's a hot zone, but it's really a hot zone. I mean, super hot.
Yeah, 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 like crazy. I don't know if it's as bad as Iran, but I don't really believe the numbers of Iran because it's kind of like a Chinese state, right? They probably won't tell you the real numbers. They're very closed.
Well, the public never tells the real. I mean, they don't. They never want to tell you what's really
Well, this
happening.
is the thing with America. Have you seen all of the whole deal about the testing kits in America? That they're not allowing the testing kits to be given out, and they're basically the doctors and nurses are begging for testing kits, and I think it's the CDC or whoever's giving them out are refusing to give them out because thing like this, if you don't get people tested, then you don't get numbers.
Right. Right.
So, and I like Trump, but I don't know what his deal is regarding this virus, but he's very downplaying the virus, and he doesn't want the numbers to be up in the sky, so he's just not allowing the test kits to get out.
Now, this is like trying to stop the wind. Apparently, like this is very highly contagious. It's like stopping the wind.
But this is the thing. Or do they want? Or this is? Or you don't know? Is this part of their? I know it's kind of conspiracy related, but are they doing this because they want it to spread? Right? Because why would you not?
Okay, let's get a little bit technical here. Okay, let's say I put up a video yesterday discussing why. Okay, Canada's not doing much about this when it comes to actually, testing people. They're just giving them flyers, right? Now, my question to you is, what if Canada knows that, okay, this is like trying to stop the wind. People are going to get this. There's no point in wasting money in getting people or testing people upon entry. Everyone's going to get this regardless. Okay. What if it's already like something they know ahead of us where it's like, we're going to get this. Everybody at upper levels, lower levels, the bottom, it doesn't discriminate. Everybody will get this. It's like, again, trying to stop the wind. What if some countries that are doing nothing about it because they already know that it's something they can't stop?
Well, yeah, I believe they can't stop this. They really can't. I believe that it's way beyond containment. Like, I'm originally from the UK, and look at the UK. They've done over 20,000 tests now. And the UK is ramping up also. The UK has 209 now. But now the UK government is saying that it's highly likely that it's going, well, it's not even just highly likely, it's pretty much definitely going to happen that it's going to spread throughout the UK. Whereas I remember 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago, the UK government was saying, no, we're very low risk, and don't worry, it's not going to come here. We're very, very low risk. Now they're saying, well, yeah, it's high risk and it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you can't believe anything they're saying because literally a few weeks ago they're saying, no, don't worry, we are very low risk. We're not going to have any problems, and we can handle the couple of cases that arrive. And it's now completely flipped.
Right. It's flipped. But what if it got to the point where, guys, it's like trying to stop the wind and let's just get this and get it over with? What if that's the case? Let's get this over with. Let's put the strain on the economy. Let's put the strain on the, the whole, basically putting the world to a halt. Let's just put everything to a stop if we have to. Let's just get this and get it over with. I'm going to come home early so I can get my spanking so I can just get it over with, What if that's the case?
Yeah, who knows? Did you see the pictures I sent you on Facebook about all the empty shelves in the UK?
Yes, you did. I did.
Pasta, all of the pasta aisles of pasta is completely gone in pretty much all the supermarkets in the UK. Pasta, rice.
Yeah, where I
Um,
live, right here. Yeah, empty shelves. Lots of. This. I think this is the one you sent me. That one, a couple of photos and articles too.
yeah.
So here it is. Here, yeah. So this is a huge deal. Um, Flu medicine. Oh wow, that's completely wiped out. All the hand sanitizer, all the soaps wiped out. Luckily, here in my town, I live in a small town. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people just don't know this is happening, or they're not really. Um, they just think it's nothing to worry about. I go to the store. There's no lineups. No one's freaking out. Everything's in stock. You know what I'm saying? So I've been
Yeah. Yeah.
secretly picking up extra toilet paper, picking up extra hand sanitizer, extra flu medicine every time I go, like 3 times a week to the store, picking up extra stuff, extra stuff. Now I got like 6 months supply of hand sanitizer, a year supply of disinfectant wipes, a year supply of rubbing alcohol, though a 5 year supply of rubbing alcohol, actually, you know?
So I'm not familiar with your town. I've been to Canada. I've lived in Vancouver myself for a year.
Mm-hmm.
How isolated are you from major cities? Like how
I'm two and
far
a
away?
half hours east of Vancouver.
Okay, okay. So would you say how high risk would you say that people will be traveling between Vancouver and your town?
It's somewhat of a risk because people stop here to get gas. People stop, and then people working at the gas station local bring it home, and then their kids catch it, take it to school. We're all gonna get it. So
So do people in your are people in your town talking about it or not really? They just think, oh, we're in the middle of nowhere, we should be okay.
no, in my town, what I've been noticing is that no one knows what I'm talking about. There's a couple of friends that I have that know it, and they're being cautious and they're washing. They're taking this. They bought extra soap. They're taking care of their families and
How
looking
can
at
they
all the
not know what you're talking about? Have they been living under a rock? How do you mean they don't know what you're
like they
talking
have no
about?
like I talk about. Oh, I'm at my shop. I go, what do you think of this whole coronavirus thing? They're like, oh, this is blown out of the water. We don't have nothing to worry about. We're in Canada. That kind of,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
did
we're
you
in
say like,
Canada.
have
It
you seen
sounds like more of
Iceland?
a third world thing, and like it was like. So you know what they do is they bring up, oh, it's like the bird flu, it's like the swine flu.
Yeah,
It's just over proportionally blown out of the water.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
Another quick thing is that have you noticed from the statistics that tropical countries doesn't seem to have as many incidences,
Mm-hmm. Let's
such
take a
as
look at our trusty map here.
Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, pretty much the Southeast Asia. The numbers haven't really moved that much.
Again,
Considering
again,
Thailand was
but
one
then we
meant to be
need
one
to
of the
take a step back. What if they're just not testing for it?
but that's the thing, like I said about the US, if they're not willing to test, then you're not going to get any numbers, right?
Right. So So now, if this was a bioweapon they're going to release, why would they just? They could just secretly not tell anybody about this. They could have kept everything going as normal. People would have been dropping off like flies. They would have said, "Oh, we don't know what this is." If this was a bioweapon and they actually wanted to release this and pull the trigger on a pandemic, they would have kept it quiet for a lot longer than the 1 week or 2 weeks in Wuhan when they had the earthquake. I think they would have kept it quiet until March or April.
But I think they couldn't because people were actually, like doctors were noticing it and they were spreading that news, right? Wasn't there that doctor that was arrested or something because he was telling people, oh, I found this virus, and he was warning people, and then he was arrested because he was, giving out this so-called fake news, but it wasn't fake.
Right, but what if he wasn't allowed to give out that news because what I said maybe would have been what they were working on?
Hmm.
You never know. Like the average
I'm,
guy
I'm
like
still
myself, I don't know how to tell
50-50.
myself for anything. Like if I have to, you know what I mean, right? So like the average person wouldn't know. They go, "Oh, I got the flu. I'm going to stay home," right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the average person won't. Even the doctors, even like doctors that don't have scanning machines and all that high tech technology, will find stuff. Maybe send a few samples out for testing, but nothing super high tech, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got another quick story for you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
my mom's in the UK, so I ordered some hand sanitizer from a medical supply company in London. So I ordered 4 bottles, and they're half-a-liter bottles. And I did it online store, click add to cart. It says everything was in stock, and I was like, oh, sweet, nice. The price was really low. So I purchased it, and I waited for a few days, and I was thinking, why is it not dispatched? They say next day to dispatch. So I still wait, and then I called them up, and I says, hi, what's the deal with my order? And he says, oh, we don't have it in stock. I says, wait, but you've took my payment, and you haven't told me that it's not in stock. You haven't sent me an email saying, sorry, it's not available. So why would you do that? And he says, oh, yeah, sorry, but we don't have any. Normally we just wait until it comes back into stock. I says, but you know this is not going to come back into stock, right? You know that. He's like, yeah, it's crazy right now. So I tried to get my money back, and they put the phone down on me 3 times.
Oh, yeah, like the Filipino Airlines. Trying to get my money back for my trip. At $4,400 or $4,200, I'm out.
It's crazy, right? It's like, yeah, you're quick to take my money, but when I want my money back, you start putting the phone down on me and all that kind of stuff. So eventually I called back, and I got through to a nice guy, and he refunded me. He gave me some insight into this medical supply company. And he says, it's absolutely crazy. He says, we've sold literally like 50,000 bottles within like 48 hours. And he says, look, if you want a few bottles, I can sort you out. He said he gave me an item code, which was a different item, but it was manufactured by themselves. He said, look, you ordered this item, and it will be arriving next week. We'll have it in stock next week. He says, we'll have 17,000 bottles in stock, and I've already took 10,000 orders today. So if you do it now, you'll be able to get it next week.
Okay.
And as I said to him, I says, look, like, you need to be careful, right? I says, you can see the panic. And he says, yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I said to him, I says, it's not the virus that you need to be worried about. It's the panic.
Yeah.
And I said, you can see it. You can see the panic. And he says, yeah, you're completely right. You're completely right. But yeah, so I managed to get it cheap, and yeah, it's pretty crazy, the prices of those hand sanitizers. The one that you just...
I showed you a photo that was sent to me by somebody else, and it was like $68 or $69.
Yeah, I saw on Amazon £100 for similar bottles on Amazon.
That's like 10,000 pesos.
Yeah. So when you say you want to buy gold and silver for bartering, or alcohol or something, well, now you're gonna be buying alcohol sanitizer for bartering, and if shit hits the fan.
Yep. All right, Liam. I'm gonna let you go. Thanks for being here with us and giving us an update on what's going on. And thanks for that story. That's really good to know, because you get a little bit of inside info on what's happening.
Bye, man. And I love the show, and keep up the good work.
Thanks. You take care.
Bye.
All right. So we got Liam in from Southeast Asia, who is telling us what's going on. Last week he was giving us some really interesting stories about how he traveled through Southeast Asia and how he's... Let's go down to Detroit now and get Anthony on the show.
Mike?
Yo, Anthony. How are you, my brother?
Super bien. How are you, Mike?
Muy bien. Dude, what the heck is going on, man? The numbers are blowing up everywhere. How much has China been lying about this stuff?
Oh, man, they've been trying to keep it under wraps, and I think the U.S. media and global media have been hiding from us the devastating consequences to us and our economies.
So, it means nothing beats social media. What are they going to do? Are they going to shut down social media so this doesn't get out? Or what are they going to do? Because social media is getting everything out. We don't need the news. You just need Facebook to know anything.
I think we're moving into a different phase. I mean, when you see things like the northern Italy shutting down completely, you know they're just going to throw in the towel and say, all right, F it, have fun on your social media, and we're ready to let the news out. of this catastrophic problem. And I sent you some different articles now about.
I'm opening them right now. Right now. Hold
Okay.
on. I got you on
Yeah.
live, so let me get them on right now.
The first one is about, because I'm getting into the debt crisis that's unfolding in Latin America and how they're getting ready for this virus by basically having collapsed economies. They don't have the resources to keep a financial market going. So when we're seeing tourism plummet, there's something going on behind the scenes, an orchestrated collapse coinciding with this virus.
Mm-hmm. So I'm looking here. Coronavirus adds a dangerous days for Detroit automakers in China.
Oh, yeah, this is Detroit. I mean, this is an example of how we can go from boom to bust pretty quickly in Detroit if our supply chain is threatened by the virus. And it's this, I'm on build sites looking at builders putting things up. Everyone is super pumped. They were super ecstatic, positive about the economy going into 2021, whatever. Everyone's putting up subdivisions. But I think this could be the one thing that throws a wrench into the whole U.S. economy, and Michigan would be no different. What do you think?
Well, they put all their eggs in one basket. You know that, right? So they instead of moving most of the work to Mexico, which the original plan was once they originated the NAFTA agreement, they should have stuck more with Central America than moving everything to China. But they kind of screwed, because now you can't get stuff in from China anymore. There's a lot of ships ported and not moving.
Yeah, this is the supply chain damage. And as far as having all the eggs in one basket, Latin America also has them in one basket with China. There's another article I sent you too about how Argentina is going to depend on China for any type of bailout relief for its upcoming debt. I mean, what's China good for? How much can you depend on them for at this point?
Okay, I got the one here for in Portuguese. It says Bolsonaro diz espera que PIB melhor apressar do coronavirus. So again, trade is, this is quarta-feira. That was from Wednesday. They're having huge trade issues now in Brazil too.
Yes, this is the breakdown of Bolsonaro's economic model. All of his promises of prosperity had been hinged on a stock market bubble as well as selling soybeans to China. He, in his year of lies on the economy, has been ignoring the debt default in Argentina and its catastrophic implications on Mercosul, the agreements between them, all the autos and things they were supposed to be selling back and forth between Argentina and Brazil. He's created a Brazilian miracle that has been hinged on China and stock market trading, and that's coming down crashing. And be on the lookout for some sort of a civil war type situation. And this virus just complicates things more, and now it's the perfect scapegoat, the perfect blame for all of our governments to now blame our destroyed economy on.
Of course, they don't blame poor economic decisions or poor, they've been riding the gravy train for a long time now and having a good time, and in the end we still have to pay for it one way or another. So we got another article here, and then the fall of Argentina, an analysis of the failures of Mauricio Mars's economic plan. Again, everything hinged in China, according to what this article is saying, and reduction of fiscal deficits, GDP not up to par where it should be. And let's open your other articles here. You said you sent here a lot of articles.
Yeah, we're just getting a quick overview on Latin America.
Yeah, I'm opening it right now. Don't be surprised if China swoops in to prevent another default in Argentina, analysis said. So what's going to happen? China's going to come in and bail out Argentina? And what, do they own Argentina next? They already own parts of Africa.
Here's the thing. I mean, is China liquid, solvent?
No.
Right. So anyone hoping for a rescue from China is delusional. I mean, it's good that this article is made because you can kind of see what's going around, what's been floating around. I mean, China's been everyone's, like, what do you call it, lender of last resort for how long now? How much can we rely on their growth to carry the world?
Mm-hmm. Right here, Argentina's government's battling to restructure $100 billion in debt, including $44 billion to the International Monetary Fund, IMF. And they're hoping China could come in and save them. Now with this the COVID-19 that's been in and out and about, I just don't see it happening, like you said. So what's
Oh,
the
right.
end game economically with Covey?
Oh, I think they're gonna actually flush the whole capitalist system down the toilet for us. I think, and I think in this situation, I said this on your channel now over a year ago during the G20 meeting in Buenos Aires,
Yes.
that you're gonna see a mutual fund wipeout in the U.S. as well as some sort of explosive civil war type situation in South America, where the whole continent it would be like Venezuela, and then we're all just paying for it because they, and I'm saying this because look at the coronavirus. Do you notice how for a couple weeks the media pretended like there was no economic ramifications, but suddenly they started to trickle bad articles out about how the supply chain was threatened, and then it's like bam, you're seeing all these stocks crater, the cruise lines.
Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Oh yeah,
People asking in the comments, this is our man Anthony with his eyes and ears on the ground in downtown Motor City, Detroit, on with us. So, Anthony, okay, let me ask you. Endgame, yeah, you brought the Endgame up about a year ago, and do you think now this is a perfect tie-in to what's happening now, or do you think there's still something in the pipeline? You're now kind of throwing out civil war in South America. What do you see happening for the United States and Canada?
Finally, the predictions you made on your channel about a housing bubble burst would come true in good time, where you could be shorting Chilean banks, you could be shorting Canadian banks, and we all go down the toilet because this is going to affect China's ability to supply credit to Canada to keep the bubble going. And really, the problem with the solvency in Toronto real estate is the fact that it's dependent on foreign money laundering money and Canadian locals taking out loans. And then the Canadians with their corrupt housing market then will be underwater on their houses, and then you have a Canadian financial crisis. What do you think?
I'm thinking that the housing market's been super resilient, but it will lag. The housing market will lag quite a bit. It will, like you said, crater, exactly like you said, because if we can't get that foreign money in, Canada still has everything's open, ready to come into Canada. It's just if they can't keep getting that money to come in to replace the money that's dropping off or leaving, they're gonna, or money that's defaulting, right?
Right.
So we got Stefan here messaging me saying that the coronavirus might be their solution, right?
Okay, and then how is it a solution? Is it going to be a good distraction, or is it going to cleanse the earth? What are we suggesting?
You know, it could just be a good cover for, again, very poorly government managed, just very poor government, just poor government decisions over the last I don't know, 15 years, 20 years of bad spending, bad, you know what I'm saying, poor financial decisions, and now basically this is their reset, right?
Oh yeah, and the reset will nail people. Man, no one gets it. I think wealthy people, the wealthier you are, the harder it is to imagine this is. If your business is going well right now till the end, till the credit crunch happens, you're not believing any of this.
Yeah, we're gonna see what happens, especially with the housing, because we got 4 years of documented money laundering from 2010 to 2014. We have $200 billion laundered through Canadian real estate. Now, that's a lot in an economy like Canada. Like, Canada's only got 35 million people. When you start dropping that much money into illegal money, undeclared money into real estate, that's why the locals here can't afford a house. Every house starts at $1.2 million in one of our bigger cities.
Right, and how much do we believe that China has this under control in their own country? I've seen that. You know,
I don't
now
think they have anything under control. I think they don't even know. You know why, Anthony? It's going to go back again to day one on Mike in the Night from 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
They don't know what they're dealing with. They have no idea what they're doing. They know, okay, we got this upper respiratory viral disease that is highly contagious. They know what it is, but they just can't wrap them. They can't build a model. They don't have no idea what's going on. And I think, quite frankly, nobody knows what's going on, to be honest with you. We understand what's happening, but I don't think we know really what is happening.
Right. Some of us, like minds, will understand we have an enormous challenge ahead of us.
Mm-hmm. Yes. we know that there's something. It's not the greatest, but something will happen. But we don't know what we're dealing with still. We understand it's contagious. Yeah, we understand. We don't. The reason why is because we're a month behind, Anthony, on our numbers. Do you know why we're a month behind in our information? Because China's been lying through their teeth. Look at this, 7,134 in South Korea. We had 51 in South Korea 3 weeks ago when we did Mike in the Night saying, look, we're going to look at South Korea. They seem more transparent. They look like they want to fix this thing. They got 50, I think it was 51 cases. Let's look at South Korea. A week later, it was at 2,000, and then now it's at 7,100. It's like, okay, well, let's look at Iceland now. Let's look at... the other one I'm looking at there, Sri Lanka. Let's look at Iceland and Sri Lanka. They're very kind of somewhat isolated areas. Iceland's very isolated. They got 50 cases in Iceland.
Right. And what about the warm weather? Are we hoping it's not going to hit tropical countries as well as not hit us in the summer?
Well, let's look at our map right now, right? So it's summer right now in Australia, okay? Their summer is going to end in a few days. In 2 weeks, it's going to be fall in Australia, okay? So they're going to enter flu season. They don't have a lot of numbers. They have, what does Australia have here? Let's
Right.
go back to like 50, 60 people. 81. So you might be right, Anthony. Maybe when it does hit summertime there, I mean, when it hits winter time, aka flu season there in a couple of weeks, you might see it blow up too.
Right. And hopefully a slowdown in the northern hemisphere.
I hope God hears you, because if that's the case, the northern Italy, the UK, Spain, New York, Toronto, like all these, the northern hemisphere will slow down.
Right. And that's good news for anyone not wanting to get the virus and not wanting their family members to get one.
Mm-hmm.
And just, I think the overall groupthink, that still so many people in my neck of the woods, it's all about the virus is overblown. It's just the flu. No alarm.
Yeah, we're getting that a lot here. I get that a lot here in my town. They're like, "Oh man, it's just a virus, dude." I'm like, people don't understand. If this stuff starts to mutate, and we start getting 2, 3, 4, 5 strains of it,
Right.
we're in trouble, dude. Oh, let's pretend we're the virus for a second here. Oh, let's mutate. Oh, this warm weather, we don't like this. Let's go into this guy here and mutate and absorb the warm weather. So that's just how it works.
Yeah, we're getting we get a mutation and then it can survive summer maybe in that type of situation.
That's
But I'm
when it
noticing
starts mutating, right?
Yeah, I'm noticing on the map that it's all in warm places like Dubai, very isolated cases. But Tehran, which is like got ski resorts around it,
Mm-hmm.
you got a hotbed.
Yeah, you got northern Italy. You even got, how many in Greece? Hold on, we got Greece here. 46, right? So it's just blowing up. Because how many people... Okay, now, let's get realistic here. How many people have it and don't know they have it? That could be in the millions, Anthony.
Right, and then when do you not take a trip? I mean, are you going to the Philippines?
I've canceled that trip because I just don't trust the Philippines when it comes to their numbers.
Right.
I don't trust airports, period. I don't trust the flights. I don't trust anything. Not with
And
my
that's the
family.
thing.
It ain't worth it. I'd rather stay home.
You go to the airport and the Italian traveler touched the bench, and it doesn't matter if you're
Well, it
going
doesn't have to be an Italian traveler. It could be someone that traveled to Italy.
Right. That's the traveler to Tehran even, because there was a lot of that coming in from Tehran to Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
That was upsetting people.
Well,
And-
I think Canada knows something. I think Canada really isn't too worried about it because I think it's like trying to stop the wind.
Right.
You can't stop the wind. So I think it's something that's just going to happen. It's got to take its course, and we have to be prepared, vigilant. We have to maybe self-quarantine if we have to, just to get over this. Be careful not to get reinfected because people that are getting reinfected are dying.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there's so many lung ailments that people have with the emphysema, with the elderly, as well as people that have had vaping injuries.
Mm-hmm.
People that smoke a lot of pot will probably not be very resistant to disease. I mean, as much as they want to hype the benefits to
I know the benefits of
chronic
it. Yeah.
smoking. And the other thing I wanted to show you was, can we pull up a stock symbol here, BCH?
Okay. Yeah. BCH.
Yeah.
Is it what platform?
Oh, just on CNBC or Google. Just
Is it BCH stock?
yeah.
I just want to see what the Banco de Chile.
Yeah, let's take a 5-year chart on this.
Yeah.
So, in doing my shorting in Latin America, like shorting the Latin American banks through here, through Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
this run on Latin American banks obviously started 2 years ago, and it's got 2 more years to go. So, and this is just confirmed by this virus.
Mm-hmm.
The whatever violence was happening in the street in Chile and problems with their budgets, it's just getting exacerbated by this virus. And the real starter of it was the trade war that is ruining Latin American budgets and creating this global recession.
Mm-hmm.
So this virus has just helped the trade. You know, as tragic as it is, I mean, there are ways to profit from this catastrophe. So I know I hear people talk about making, buying a stock and this and that mask maker or vaccine. This is another alternative because any economic effect we talk about having in the United States that is possible to interrupt our supply chain, it is going to just ruin Latin America. And we're going to be looking at a situation that we don't really look to 2008 or 2001 to compare it to.
No, this is going to be like that. The 2008 is going to look like a walk in the park.
Right, and we're seeing the mobilization of it. We're getting the Marines ready to go into Venezuela,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. The Chinese won't be able to sustain their mission in Venezuela.
Well, no, of course not.
So yeah, any more comments before I let you take another call?
No, you pretty much covered it. You gave us the down low on what's happening economically in Central and South America. Yeah, you already answered what America, you answered Canada, you pretty much touched on everything. You even give us a stock ticker too.
All right, yeah. If any way we can spin this to make to help ourselves and people around us, why not?
If we can, yeah, why not? Remember, a lot of fortunes are made when people lose theirs.
Absolutely.
All right, Anthony from Detroit, thanks for being here tonight and giving us an insight, and we'll look forward to having you on the show more.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
God bless. Bye. That is our man Anthony from downtown Detroit, giving us a little bit of an insight on what is happening in Central and South America with markets, and also kind of putting a spin on what is going to happen economically, what is masking what. And guys, this is like, again, stop in the wind. That's how I'm seeing it. There's no way to prevent. I think, honestly, wholeheartedly, Canada not really screening and testing people, I think regardless, it's going to get out. There's always going to be one person that takes the bus, one person that gets on the subway, one person that gets around, and that's enough to kind of throw that out there. And I think what they're looking at, the angle they're seeing this now, they're trying to say, okay, let me just get my whooping from daddy, because I've been a bad boy this week, so I'm going to go get my whooping earlier. So then this way I can get over this earlier and not wait. So basically, get it over with, and move on type of thing. And I think that's what it is, Yeah, Supreme Can saying lots of people have recovered from it. We'll make it. Okay, let's see who we can get on here. I'm trying to see if I could get the Raven on the show so I could get him going with full blast with Real German Instincts here. Three Right Guys Game Podcasting, so I can get them on together to kind of debate what's going on here, right? All right, let's see who we can get on here. All right, lots of good callers tonight, man. We're on fire tonight, man. Holy smokes! All right, okay, we got Lord Humongous. I think he's available to answer the phone now. Yo, Humongous.
Yes, sir. What's happening, my friend?
Nada. Thanks for coming on, buddy. I probably got you at a bad time earlier. I'm sorry about that.
No, yeah, I'm taking care of the dogs, so I had to. They were kind of doing their thing.
No worries. No worries. Okay, boss. Economic. This is a huge economic impact Like we had the last guest on the phone from Detroit who said, "Yeah, you know what? It's not a bad thing. Markets are good now. 2 weeks later down the road, markets are bad. Economy's doing bad. What do you see happening in the next 2 more weeks?"
Well, a lot of this is correlation between the bond market and the stock market fluctuations. That's what, like we were talking about last week. You see the bonds up and down, all over the place. It has to do with the yield rate, man. You got to watch the yield rate. That's going to affect housing big time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So definitely going to affect housing, but do you think it's safe for people to buy in the market, even if housing gets I think there's going to be several corrections in a lot of things. I don't think there's going to be a correction. I think we're going to see several corrections.
Maybe. I don't know, man. It could all hit at one time. If the bond market collapses, that's tied to the 30-year note. So, I mean, we could see those prices on housing come down really quick, man. I mean, that's just part of that big housing bubble. It's not deflating fast enough.
Well, that's putting our eggs in one basket and having our economy backed.
Right.
By housing.
Yeah, exactly. But you see how fast the stock market can drop in 1 week. It went down 4,000 points last week.
That took them a year to build.
Right. Exactly. All the gains, any profits were wiped out all last week for this year. But so we have 8 confirmed cases now of COVID-19 in Colorado. There was one guy that came in from Italy, and he went up to the ski resorts, like the really expensive ones in Vail.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been the most serious case from what I hear. But they're shutting down down south from me, like a school that's down in Douglas County.
Wow.
So it's south. Yeah, it's south of Denver. So, we only had 2, I guess, cases confirmed just this last Monday or whatever, and now all of a sudden we got 8. So that tells me that that infection rate is pretty much mathematically on point.
We got someone bring up a good point here. You got the Denver Nuggets, right? You got the Colorado Avalanche. You got all these sports teams down there. What are they going to do with these sports teams? Are they going to stop these games or what?
Well, I mean, there's major hockey in almost every major city. I mean, how are you going to, it's not just here. I mean, U.S. has a lot of sports, man, and I mean that's
I understand, but you're in Colorado, right? So they're already shutting down a school. Here in Canada, they won't be shutting down nothing in Canada until it gets really serious in Canada. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, the way I look at it, I mean, Seattle's in a bad spot right now. They're pretty much on lockdown, and that's right across the border to Vancouver.
Mm-hmm. But those cities are becoming more and more predominantly Chinese, right? So, yeah,
it's crazy, man. I mean, they just had another story at Costco. There was 2 Chinese people fighting over toilet paper.
Yeah, it's just gonna happen. It's just something that people let their emotions get ahead of what's right and wrong. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the entitlement that kicks in. Ooh.
Oh yeah, look, watch out, right?
Entitlement.
Yeah, and I saw another story where they're selling that Purell that it costs $60 a bottle. They're selling it
here actually. Somebody sent me that earlier today. In the discussion. So, anyways, Lord, let me tell you something, buddy.
Yeah.
I have a few things I'm putting together a care box for you to send you a couple of board games that I would like for you to play, and a couple of things that I'm still waiting for stuff to come in from the show, and they're telling me that it's going to take an extra few more days for my Teespring stuff to show. They're going to come. It's going to come, but it's going to take a little longer.
Yeah, because everything's on back order, man. It's the supply lines are screwed right now.
Yeah, logistically, I place an order from my supplier I order from every 2 weeks, and my stuff's still in the mail 3 weeks later.
Well, what do you think about receiving an Amazon package in the mail? You know how much Chinese stuff flows through Amazon. I mean, it's practical.
So again, and it goes back to the story that we talked about baggage handlers on my channel.
Right. How long does this thing mutate, or how long does this thing last on any kind of surface?
So
Is
if
the question.
baggage handlers are all getting in London and Heathrow Airport, they're getting tested for this and getting positive checks. This is not good, Lord. So what if Canada is actually doing the right thing? Like, they're not stopping anyone, they're not testing anybody, because it's like stopping the wind. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does, but I mean, on the other hand, like, there's a self quarantine or voluntary quarantine. I think is a good way to stop the spread. I mean, it works. You know what I mean? I
Oh, I
don't think.
totally agree with you on that. Like, if you get but then you get this guy, this article that I read. This was sent to me from someone in Italy. I read the article earlier. Sorry, let me see if I can find the article here that I read earlier to you guys at the beginning of the show, where where'd it go? Here we go. Coronavirus patient 0 in Italy. So I guess the first patient in Italy was a Pakistani migrant who refused to self-isolate. He arrives to the country. They asked him to quarantine in the Pavia area for 2 weeks. He ignored their request and continued to work at a Chinese restaurant delivering food.
Oh, well, then that makes sense, because that guy that came here to Colorado, got infected in Italy. So
Right. So he's done more than several hundred deliveries in the couple of weeks that he worked.
yeah, so those Chinese. I mean, I've been telling people not to eat Chinese at Chinese restaurants for decades.
No, well, I'm not talking about like the Chinese themselves, the Chinese food themselves. I don't even think it's even that, to be honest with you, Lord. It's the guy who came into Italy that was a Pakistani migrant that was tested positive, who didn't self-quarantine himself.
Yep, and he was probably over on the Iranian border somewhere, and you know how they're getting nailed right now with that virus. So I don't know, man.
Well, yeah, I know we don't know the thing, but it's not has to do with like being with Chinese people. It has to like a little bit more to do with why didn't he self-quarantine himself? Then this restaurant would have not got penalized and shut down, because they never had a problem with that restaurant. But the guy delivering the food didn't quarantine and didn't tell people.
Right, but 95% of all production for all I think it's the Fortune 1000 companies comes directly out of Wuhan. So if that shuts down, what's going on? What's going to happen? It's like the supply issue is now worse than the virus. There's nothing. Everything's getting shut down, so there's no product. What are you going to do?
Well, Iceland's taking a smart approach. I read the article last week. A few days ago. Iceland is asking people to. So there's about 400 people in quarantine in Iceland right now, and they are getting paid by their government to stay home.
Well, that's
until
smart.
They are recovered, right?
That's what a smart government should do.
They are a smart government because they arrested all their bankers 8-9 years ago. Remember that?
Yeah, in the 2008 collapse. Yeah, I got it.
They arrested everybody. They got rid of everybody. They put everybody in jail for stealing from them.
And what's China's solution for this whole coronavirus getting spread through money? So now they're actually using UV technology and trying to clean the cash. But what good is that going to do if an infected person touches the cash and then passes it to somebody else?
Right. There's no. Like I said again, this virus is like stopping the wind. That's why stop the wind.
That's why toilet paper's worth more than cash, bro. Cash is not going to be king. It's going up in flames. Silver is a clean money, man. I don't think viruses and bacteria and stuff. Silver naturally deflects all that stuff.
It does actually. It's actually like that thing that Ronald Reagan used to take, that colloidal silver water, right?
Yeah, well, I mean that's silver. So I think silver is going to have to become money at some point again, because it's going to you can't trust cash. It's just like putting it on any other item. You need a money that can fight this thing. And I think that's where you're going to see this big silver shot, man, because when the general public gets wind of that, you know what I'm saying? They're going to be like, "Oh my God, why didn't I buy silver when it was like the cheapest asset on the planet and it's real money?"
Exactly. Yeah, the people would be scratching their heads. Yeah.
The dogs are fighting. I got to take care of them.
Okay, you take care, Lord. Thanks so much. And I'm waiting for my towels and stuff to show up. And I really want to put together a nice care package for you there.
Are you taking bets on the debate tonight? Who's going to win?
Not really. I'm more focused on whoever wins won't solve this problem. So.
Right. Well, my money's on my boy the Raven now. So.
Oh well, I gotta get the Raven on though.
Where is that guy? What's he
Oh,
doing?
you're talking. I thought you were talking about the political debates. No,
Yeah,
okay, no, the Raven, and I don't know. He's not here, so I'm gonna see if I could call him. If he doesn't answer, then I don't know what to do. Right? So.
that's right. All right,
Yeah.
brother. Well, sounds good. I'll stay on and keep listening.
Okay. God bless.
All right. God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
That is Lord Humongous from the Humongous Wasteland in Denver, Colorado. So that's that right there. We got what else we got going on floating around the comments here? Okay, we got Stefan here. Stefan, if he wants to come on. I know he's in the comments. He sent me a few messages. I hope he's sleeping. Let's see if he's sleeping. Right, I don't know what the deal is there with. I hope I didn't wake him up. He's like, oh, why is this guy calling me for? Okay, let's see if I can get the Raven on. I mean, see if I could get him, see if we get the Raven on.
Hey, Mike.
Were you sleeping?
No, I was, but I've been up for a few minutes. I'm awake.
Do you want me to call you back?
Okay, I was up. I just had a shot of Pepsi. Get me going.
Okay. So I want to get through Right Guys Game podcasting.
No, I don't want to debate that guy.
You don't want to debate?
I'd rather debate a tree.
Oh, come on, man. I thought we were friends here.
Well, I have no. What do I want to debate him for?
Well, just to find out what's going on with this. Is it a mass event to bring down the economy, or is this like the real deal thing? And like, you know.
Well, you can hear his opinion, or you can hear my opinion. I don't know what we're going to debate about. What's his opinion? What's he believe?
Well, no, he believes that's okay. He believes that this is like a manufactured thing, which could be, and he believes that I don't know, like it's a big deal, and we have to get him on to ask him, right?
My opinion goes very deep into thousands of hours of watching these people. I've been following these people for years. This you got to be really deep in the markets to know the clues that these people have thrown out. You got to watch a lot of the news of what these people have done, like Trump's tax cuts. That's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
The quarter point drop in interest rates. That's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Best economy ever. That's part of it. We should help Iran with the coronavirus. That's part of it. Killing that general, but not attacking Iran after. That's part of it. It's a psychological. It's a huge psychological, but also, what do we have that protects us against hardship? We have let's say we should have a 5% interest rate. That would be something. That would be like 5 bullets in the gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
We piss that away because we're trying to weaken the host. That's why the trade wars. Just put it this way: if you took a bully and a bully grabbed a kid at school and he held the kid while another bully punched the kid, well, the first bully's the trade war.
Mm-hmm.
The second bully's the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They both work together. They're trying to take out. It's very complex and in depth. It's a big, moving animal, right? So, my view is, I think, very different than any other person's view. I think there are people that have shared some of the same parts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone shares the exact whole picture with me. So I don't know what he wants to debate about.
Mm-hmm. He says he doesn't think it's some tinfoil hat elite theory. That's what he's saying.
See, right off the bat, you're hit with ridicule, eh? You know, I'm not here to put down anybody's opinion.
No, of
I'm
course
not.
not. No, we're not. We're all friends here. We're all contributors to the channel. We don't. We're all friends. It doesn't like in the end. We're just talking in the end, right?
Well, like I said, the truth is always met with three things: ridicule.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't have the brain power to transition to debate,
Mm-hmm.
and it's self-evident, right? But I see it very clearly because I'm watching with these people. I've been watching them very closely, extremely closely. Watch the bond market, watch the yield curve.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's many indicators to tell you what these people are doing, but they're doing it under the cover of distractions like the impeachment, Russiagate. They work under the cover of night.
And what about that guy that was going to be attorney general or whatever? That guy.
Kavanaugh.
Yeah,
That
that
was
went on for like 3 months of crap. That was a bunch of crap for 3 months. They ruined that guy's life.
what's going on right now, Mike. They don't need anything. They got the virus. Where's the distraction now? They don't need it. These guys, this plan was made probably 30 years ago. It's genius. You know, it's about as smart as attaching interest to your loans. These guys are, you know, who was thinking like that 110 years ago? You know,
Well, 100 years ago, they were smart when they added that tax to tax your labor, income tax. Right? That's like technically, I mean, that's illegal, but I mean, taxing someone's labor that was pretty bad. Like, there's a couple of things that's been guy throwing itself into place as all these moving parts are at work, right?
well, everything they do, they make it look like something else. Look at women's lib. You know, that's a great. You know, give the women rights. Not the way they saw it. They
Mhm.
saw an untaxed half the civilization is untaxed, and they can get the kids out of the house earlier to get them indoctrinated quicker.
Mhm.
So that was the Rockefeller Foundation that did that. That's the way they work. You know, you got to know the way they work.
Mhm.
I don't trust people. Never have. You start
Now,
trusting.
let me ask you, Raven, do you honestly think, like I've been saying from the beginning of the show, is this virus like the wind? Is this something that we just can't prevent it no matter what? It's like trying to stop the wind. Do you think if we really wanted to put a handle on this, we could have? Or do you think it's something that's just gonna go through its course and basically do what it has to do?
You'd have to ask the government bean counters. They've run the scenarios already. Ask them. They'll tell you. They know the projection of what this is going to do. They probably got it pinpointed to when it'll knock the economy out.
Mm-hmm.
Have to ask them. That's tinfoil hat conspiracy, man. Somebody in the room said they wanted some conspiracy. There you go.
Well, that word doesn't even mean what it's supposed to people think it actually means. It's just when someone tells the truth tells what they saw, they get deemed as a conspiracy theorist. That term was spun in 1963, November 22nd, 1963, when people were interviewed about the John F. Kennedy assassination, and when they told the newspapers and the police what they saw, they were deemed a conspiracy theorist, even though they were telling the truth.
Yeah, you're right about that. Came from Kennedy in '63. Yeah.
November 22nd.
Yeah. But I'm not like digital currencies. 10 months ago, I said they're going to attach an interest rate attachment to digital currencies. I told you that on the show 10 months ago. Nobody's talking about that. You never heard that anywhere else. That came from me.
Right.
Or a time-sensitive interest rate. You never heard that anywhere. Nobody did. No one. I guarantee you, no one. Because I've seen everything pretty much there is on the internet. So is Lord Humongous. I know how much that guy watches. You haven't seen that. That came from me. That's my own opinion out of watching what's going on. It's the same for the virus. I put two and two together. I watch these people. They're bad people. That's exactly what they're doing. They're expediting their world order. And they're going to get, as far as I can figure, about 47 different objectives will be finished when this goes through. Digital currencies is one of them.
Hold on. Can I add something to this real quick?
Sure.
Susan Nancy commented, and I heard this yesterday and the day before yesterday from somebody else, is that our great leader, our leader of Canada here, apparently doesn't want cases reported.
Yeah, he's no leader.
Huh?
He's a drama teacher. He's no leader.
Right? No, you know what I'm saying. Canada's great and sovereign leader, apparently, he doesn't want cases reported. What's the deal with that?
That's noise in the background. I don't really care what Trudeau says. Watch what Trump says.
Of course.
Watch things like best economy ever, best economy ever, best economy ever. He says it over and over, year after year. When everything falls, we'll reflect. We'll look back. How was the economy? Oh, that's right. Best economy ever. He's ingraining it in your head. Best economy ever. Well, let's help Iran. Hey, Iran, we want to help you with your coronavirus. Well, that sounds like a really nice, just administration. They didn't go to war when they killed that general, and then they fired missiles at us, hurt 100 people with concussions. That's what I'll think of. That's a pretty... and he signed that bill to pull all the soldiers out of Afghanistan. That's a just administration. I think they're very nice. They want to pull out of war. They want nothing to do with war. He pulled those people out of Afghanistan. That's a 19-year war from I won't say the date, from something that happened in 2001. That's a 19-year war. He's ending he's ending what happened in New York in 2001. In your mind, he's ending that. He ended it.
Yeah.
Just before the virus, or just actually during it. He ended that. He doesn't want no conspiracy. He wanted that ended. That war ended. He didn't attack Iran. He wants to help Iran. Best economy ever. You see, there's many different psychological aspects to it. And then there's subsections that break down even further. It's very complex moving. It's the way they work. So, you know what? If people can't see it, that's not my problem. It's what I see. And I know it's a lot for a lot of people to take in. Some people will see it, but if I'll tell you, if I can sit down with you in front of you and talk for hours, then you will see it. Like a couple minutes on a phone call and that, throwing out a couple things here and there. Some people might start to wonder, maybe he does have something, but it takes a lot.
The thing is, you've been compiling this with us for the last year and a half, 2 years.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, on this show, 10 weeks before the virus broke, I was telling you the trade wars, they're going to take out the economy. I said that 6 times on your show, starting 10 weeks before the first outbreak. October 11th, that snowstorm, you remember that?
Yes.
I started saying, I realized humanity is so fragile. They're going to use this trade war to weaken the world because they're going to take it out. What's the trigger? I said Brexit or something else. There's going to be something that's a trigger. They're pushing Brexit away. They're weakening it. Then they keep pushing Brexit away. And then Brexit will be a trigger. But what else? And then the general came. I thought they would take us to war because they always take us to war.
Well, I said they weren't going to take us to war with that guy.
If they take us to war, they'll look like warmongers, right?
But I knew nothing was going to happen. I knew when after that, this and that, this quarrel back and forth, and I said, you know what? Nothing's going to happen with this. Nothing's going to happen with this.
You did say that. I remember that. You were right.
No, I have no reason to make things up, but I'm saying, like, there's a couple of, I just had a feeling that nothing was going to come from that. I just had a feeling it wasn't big enough. I just had a feeling that it wasn't worth it enough, like, as big enough,
Historically, they take us to war. We've seen that in the past.
Again,
but we can't do it this time. This is an entire world intertwined in finance. We can't do it this time. This is a special one. This is going to be a big one. This is going to be biblical. We can't do it with war. We have to do this with a clean card. We have to be clean when we walk away from this. If these guys sitting at the table devising this, 99.99999% of people cannot sit at that table. They don't have the wherewithal to be able to plan and do that.
That's right.
But there's special architecture here. This is a big thing. At the end, a good con man, can take all your money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a really good con man can take all your money and leave town, and you never knew there was a con man. Okay?
That's what you call a short con and a long con.
Yeah. So this is a long con. You know what I mean? This is
the long con. This is the one where they get to know your family, drive you to work, pick you up, do things for you. That's the long con. That's when you actually invest months and years into a long, long con.
These guys do that. They have a history of that.
Of course. Everything's been being built and rebuilt and restructured for the remember I keep talking about the Event Horizon, right? We've been talking about the Event Horizon on this show. We've discussed everything from money laundering to all kinds of stuff. Whether they want to call it conspiracy theories, whether they want to call it whatever they want, they could call it whatever they feel like they want to call it. But when a fact's a fact and we call a spade, and it's looking back at you like you're looking at yourself in the mirror, and you start to put the pieces together, and it starts to fall together, it's like a song. It all comes together like a song.
This song is to expedite their plan. That's all it is. They're not going to sit around and print money and helicopter. They'll do it. They're going to do that. But they've thrown all their bullets away. They're throwing them. They're spending them like crazy, as fast as they can. Let me just think of an instance. Okay, here you go. Okay, follow with me. I know people will know what I'm talking about. 2008 housing collapse.
Right.
7 years, no interest. Okay. 7 years, no interest.
Mm-hmm.
And then after, people would criticize the Fed and say, that was a policy error. You guys should have started October 29th, 2014, QE3 ends. That was a policy error. You kept the rates too low for too long.
Right. That's very dangerous.
Very dangerous. That was their plan, to inflate massive credit bubbles. Massive credit bubbles will make us dependent on the system. That was their plan. Piss away everything we got. Build this thing up. Get it big. The bigger the build, the bigger the crash, the bigger the death count in the end. That's what it is. It's culling the herd. It's police states. It's everything they ever wanted, and you'll never know they stole your money in the end. It's genius. It is. It truly is. The simplicity of it is genius. And if you know what to look for and you start watching it, you'll be amazed, and you'll really admire the intelligence of the architects, of the people who put this together. But until you can come to terms with that and look that deep at it,
mm-hmm.
You're just going to keep thinking it's a virus, and what are we going to do? We're going to buy toilet paper. It's a distraction. Just like
I love the toilet paper wars. I mean, you got to admit, it is entertaining.
Yeah. And I see how what I'm saying could be, it's wow, that guy's way out there. That's, whatever.
No. But Raven, look, if you watch me, like, you see, when I had my first channel on YouTube and it got taken down, I was very like how how you're bringing this down, showing this, but explaining this and that. My first Mike Martin's channel was like that. It got taken down in, I think it was 2010 or 2012 or 2010. I can't remember. It got taken down. I restarted slowly. Didn't really bother with it too much because I was really upset, right? And if you watch like a bit of Morning Coffee with Mike, if you watch like some of the articles I bring up, I read specific pinpointed articles, even if a lot of it is housing. A lot of it is pinpointing to a lot of the stuff you're mentioning here. A lot of it is all pinpointing towards that, right? A lot of it is kind of pointing people to the direction of where, I keep bringing up, okay, guys, we can't have an economy or a GDP can't be dependent on housing. It won't work like that. It doesn't work like that. A good, healthy country exports, produces, fabricates, Yes, Canada's got the minerals, but why are we still below average? Well, there's lots going on, right? So, like, I kind of don't want to. I don't me. I'm talking about me. I don't want to go super hardcore, but I also don't want to be too soft, right? So I kind of want to kind of point people and kind of guide them into guidance in a way where it's not so hard. You know what I'm saying, Raven?
Yeah.
And
So
then you
what's
come
your,
on and just basically seal the deal.
yeah. Okay. Hey, we got to have a different angle from all different kinds of people, man.
Oh, we definitely do, right? But trying to wake people up, like I got to, like I'm like it's very. I don't know
You
if you
can't.
notice in some of my videos, I'm very selective with specific words.
Yeah,
I don't know
and
if you
you
guys
can't.
notice that, but pay attention to specifics I say and how I say them. Right? It's not that I'm training to brainwash people or anything. I just
You're
kind of
you're,
want to say something without telling it, if that makes sense.
you're subliminally trying to get me to buy board games from your store.
No, that's not the case. I'm trying to say something without really telling it, so people could kind of get. Okay, I know what Mike's talking. I know this guy. I know what this guy's trying to tell me here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hint them along.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Well,
Along,
there's no
yeah.
way I could be. There's no way I could have a channel for more than 6 months if you know if I'm out there kind of breaking everything when it comes to breaking news or bringing up solutions to everything and actually if anybody did that online they'd be out. You know.
Well, there's some pretty outrageous channels out there.
Well, there's outrageous channels, but I'm pretty like I'm saying like if I find the cure for cancer, I wouldn't be alive much longer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well,
That's what I mean. Like kind of
according
talking.
to
You know,
them, I'm a
talk.
domestic I'm a domestic terrorist, according to them, inciting fear
According to
in
who?
countries. FBI. It's all there. Read it. They read their stories. Just type in FBI domestic terrorist. You'll see it. They watch your channel. They watch all the channels on YouTube, political, government. They watch them all. Conspiracy. They watch them all. It's right there. Just Google FBI domestic terrorist. You saw those articles. They're on Zero Hedge way back.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them.
Oh no, I believe no, yeah. But the thing is, it's like there needs to be some sort of a median where at least we could have a small community just to talk, right?
Yeah, you always say that, but some of the topics are pretty racy. You know.
Yeah, they're pretty hot. Yeah, they're pretty hot. But I mean, we still have to keep uh, people in. We have to keep ourselves in the know.
Yeah,
That's the
I'm
thing.
wearing I'm wearing I wear surgical gloves at work now. Started
Whoa.
today. Yeah, when I get on, I rubber gloves, man.
Well, don't touch your face with them.
No. But the handles, on the engine, it's coming from BC through Alberta all the way to Ontario, and then it comes back again. So it's here probably already. 2-week incubation. It's probably already here. So
M. Howden has a question in the thing. What's Trudeau's endgame by destroying Canadian economy?
Trudeau is nothing. We can't say that word anymore in your room. Don't say that. He's nothing. He's nothing. He's nobody. He's. They don't even let him in on the plan. He's
Oh,
no
for
one.
sure.
Yeah, no. Actually, Canada as a whole, I don't watch Canada that much. A little Bank of Canada, a little interest rate here and there, a little bit. I don't got time to look at that. There's a lot. There's too much to look at. You got to look at the States, Japan, Europe, and China. You got to watch the big four. That's where you're going to see all the action. And not even that much Japan, just a little bit. Maybe Japan and Canada both the same. But Europe, China, and I believe China is where the cascading defaults will probably start in China.
Well, I read an article 2.5 weeks ago that the Chinese government is telling the banks to restructure bad debt and don't let no one default.
Mike, they got to do whatever they can at this point. And I noticed the IMF's going to throw 50 bill or this. Piss away more money. Throw as much as you can. They got open checkbooks for this because it'll expedite their demise, like pissing away 0.25% rate hikes or throwing them away, or tax cuts, whatever. They're allowed. There's hey, you got an open check. Spend what you want. They'll all bring it down quicker. That's it. Do you think they're going to wait 10, 15, 20 years to hyperinflate this currency? Because they can go. Look at Japan.
Yeah,
Japan's gone.
Japan did come forward a half a quarter ago, and they said that, look, this is it. We're in a recession, man. We're not gonna. It's it. We're gonna pump as much money in as we can to keep this going, but our GDP is down, and it's one of the biggest recorded drops in their GDP that they've recorded now, actually publicized in a long time.
The numbers across the board are decimated. But we don't got 20 years. We don't have 20 years to hyperinflate this currency and play games, drag it out. Oh, we can. We could. You'd see slow growth. Your GDP would be down about 1.8, 2%, 2.5%, 2% year after year, tax cuts, this bullshit, and then slowly Japan, we don't got the time. It takes, 30 times the economic stress to put protein on your table than to put green.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the time. This comes down, we're unsustainable on every level. Play at the big boy table or die. End as a planet, end as a race, and we not end, but be decimated and have no control and no power at the end. Or fix it now. Here's your Hiroshima. Okay? Here's your Hiroshima. Fix it now. Or your Pearl Harbor. Here's your Pearl Harbor. Fix it. Here's 75 objectives for you. You will get them all. You'll get them quickly. You'll be able to mold this into exactly what you want. If you think it's any different than that, I can't help you. I just can't. So
it's going down for real.
Oh yeah, it is. And here, hold on. I gotta have a shot of Pepsi. Get me going here.
Yeah. Are you sure you don't want to talk with three right gay guys podcasting? Just I see him in the comments, and
I don't read the comments when I talk to you on the phone.
Oh, okay.
I don't even look at. I don't even. You know what? The odd time at the end of the show, I'll go look at the comments, and then I'll see what's that guy's name? Ben North. Or Ben Pearson.
Yeah, that guy's always keeping me in check there.
What's that guy's deal, man?
I don't know, man. I don't know if he's tricking or treating, dude.
Yeah. Anyways, I've noticed that there are people out there that have the exact same idea of what's going on as I do. Like people that are known on the internet, higher up people, some of them don't really come out and say the exact thing, but they're saying it's the same thing. Yeah, very convenient. Like Max Kaiser said in an economic argument with a PhD professor about 7 years ago in England, he said, "Wasn't it convenient that Building 7 fell?" And then I thought to myself, why would it be convenient that Building 7 fell?
Well, the thing was insured up the yin yang.
Yeah, that guy did take out $2 billion in terrorist insurance 3 weeks before it fell. Mm-hmm. On the day he missed going to work, first time in 49 years. These guys love coincidences, eh? You can't get enough of them. But you got a CIA floor of FBI. You got Mayor Giuliani's bunkers in there. But the best floor, and this will ring true with what's happening today. The best floor in there, Securities Commission. 4,000 ongoing cases on the bankers for the .com crash on hot money transfers. All gone. Wasn't that convenient for the bankers, eh?
So why aren't these incidences arising to circumstance?
That was a test run, So many test runs, like MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, mm-hmm. or SARS, or AIDS, Let's fine-tune this shit. Add some paprika, cook it in an oven, release it to the public. Guess what? Everybody's going to walk away with the wealth of the world at the end, and nobody will ever look at you and say, hey, it was you. No, it was the virus. The virus did it. Yeah. Too many coincidences. Sorry, Epstein didn't hang himself with a blanket. Anybody who thinks that's a fool. I would bet money right now Epstein's alive somewhere, because if I had all that information he had, I'll guarantee you I'd be alive somewhere, and he's not an idiot. Mm-hmm. 10 data dumps all around the world. You touch me, it gets dumped 10 times. Hard drive, data dumps all around the world. Everybody gets known. If I die, mm-hmm. Just letting you know, put the word out there with Clinton and the Queen. It's all on video. You touch me, it goes to the internet. I want a new face, and I want to live somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, people, you can't believe what they say.
Well, of course not. So, I mean, you got to take it, you just take it at face value and dissect it yourself and kind of, just, I guess, everybody's different, right? Everybody analyzes different. Everybody sees from a different angle, right? And that's the thing. It's very hard to get everyone on the same page, right?
You know what? The good thing about it is your shows are recorded, because we were sitting here going back your shows, watching that's October 11th, that storm. We were listening to the shows, and it's clear as day. I'm telling you, the trade war is going to take out the economy. That's what they're doing. They're trying to weaken it. I said it over and over in your show, months and weeks before the first COVID-19 case came out. I didn't know what all the triggers were going to be, but who saw a pandemic coming?
I didn't see one. I told you on one morning, a couple of morning coffees with Mike, I've never fathomed the pandemic. Yeah, a pandemic could shut down the world. Yes.
Because
But I would have favored a meeting or a first contact with alien civilization before a pandemic like this gets out of hand.
They always take us to war. That's what we were looking for.
Yeah.
They always take us to war. So before we go to war, or before the trigger happens, let's get some alibis. Let's clean ourselves up. Let's put ourselves in a nice white light. Hey, Iran, do you want to help with the COVID-19? Hey, don't go and attack. Don't attack Iran after they bombed our base. No, we don't want that. We are a just leader. Oh, let's get the soldiers out of Afghanistan and that 19-year war from when the buildings fell, that big conspiratorial thing. Let's end that. We want to end that conspiracy war. Let's put ourselves in a nice white light before we will release the hounds on the people, and let that take the blame for us stealing the wealth of the world. Do you understand what's
very badly, poorly mismanaged decisions? And it all makes sense when you start thinking, like, why are they doing this? Why are they spending money on this? Why are they throwing money at this? Why don't they just reset this economy? Why don't they just let it go on autopilot like it normally did and reset and let's get a fresh start? Why? Well, here it is.
Wire yourself to the markets 6 to 8 hours a day, 7 days a week for a decade. Watch these people.
Mm-hmm.
Put 20,000 hours in, following them, looking over their shoulders. You'll come to the same conclusions I did. I can try and explain it to you in a few minutes, but it's a lot of work. You have to see how they got rid of the Glass-Steagall. Everything was to expedite the collapse. Everything they did. It's not mismanagement. It's not mismanagement. It's not bad policy. It's just what they did. The 7 years at zero was to build big credit bubbles, massive credit bubbles to put us in servitude. We're more dependent, more debt. We're less likely to be able to help ourselves if we're more in debt. The more money you can print, the more debt you can create, the more in servitude the people will be. And look at Trump, April 1st, 700 people off SNAP. He's taking 700,000 people off of welfare checks, SNAP cards, on April 1st coming up. I see 700 soldiers looking for food when that happens.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
We'll be covering that, and we'll be covering the American debates once things start to get hot. But you know what? I think first and foremost, in all fairness, I think this virus is going to start doing its work, and I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better.
It's doing its work.
But I think it's going to get out of hand. I think it's going to get to a point where they're going to be like, damn, we didn't expect it to get like this. You know what I'm saying?
My friend called a medical field at a certain company. I can't say which names of anything.
Mm-hmm.
A large company in Canada, my friend, called the health authority of that company. And then he said, I want to know what the protocol is for us going to work. And they talked politely and this and that. And then the lady says, okay, I'll send off an email and see if we can get you any information. When they hung up the phone, the lady didn't hang up her phone properly. And my friend always records his phone calls. Mm-hmm. She didn't hang up the phone properly. And in the background, you can hear her say, Oh my God. Is that ever a joke? That's what they think about us and our health. They think about these people at their workforce. I heard that call. He let me listen to it. I said, I can't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
That's who's supposed to be protecting you at your workplace. And they think it's all just a big joke. It's unbelievable.
It's not a joke. I know this is not a joke.
How much money are they going to need to print just in China to bring all those companies back? It's over.
It's done. No, there's not enough paper on Earth to bring any of that stuff back.
It's a well executed plan by people that are genius. I'll tell you, man. I'd love to sit at that table. I don't want to do that to humanity, but I'd love to sit there and think tank what we can do and what we can pull out of this. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I really think out of the box. You know, no more protests. It's illegal. We don't want you in close proximity to anyone anymore.
Mm-hmm.
45% of the world is in protests right now. What do we got? 197 countries. 45% are protesting. They're losing control. We can't go 20 more years, Mike.
What? Of course not. Economically, no. Psychologically, no. You know, astronomically, maybe.
Unsustainable.
Theoretically, I don't think so.
Okay, now we know that we're unsustainable on every level. We don't want a Japanification in the world. We can't do that. We can't spend 20 years. It's a long, drawn-out process of no growth, of getting nowhere, of getting nothing done, of having a constitution that binds us. We can't move. What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
My plan, what I said, is the only plan you can do. It's genius. It is. I truly admire them for it, but I don't, in a way. I admire their intelligence. I do, but I don't admire what they did. They have no right to play God with this planet.
They
and that's
don't.
exactly.
And they've taken us for a ride. They've.
You know what? They're going to kill family members. They're going to kill people, innocent people. You know, they put you into debt servitude. They made you a debt slave, and now they think it's up to them that they can just kill you, and walk away with the wealth, and give it just so they can walk away and be scot-free and keep controlling the world. Because we're nothing but insects to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sad part about it.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I really do, because watching the inner workings, like if this was the most complex watch in the world, they call them super complicated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right inside on the bridge watching those gears move, just looking right inside the heart of this thing. That's where you want to go. Don't look at the distractions, man. Get past get past the numbers. Get past all that crap. Look at the whole situation of what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's something that will be dissected for centuries to come.
Mm-hmm.
And the good thing is, all your shows are recorded. I love that. Love it.
I know you love it.
I love it because I go back and I look and I said, look at that. 11 months ago, I was talking about adding an interest rate to digital currencies, time-sensitive interest rates. I've still never heard that anywhere from anyone. You know, stuff like that. Think outside the box. I'm not just regurgitating some stories that I pulled off the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Put it all together. Come up with your own ideas. You know?
I hear you.
You know, you would know if I was just regurgitating stories.
I know. That's why we have you on the show very, very often. You know?
Well, yeah, well, you're gonna have some more Pepsi here.
Pepsi.
I brought 16,000 tons of oil into Winnipeg. I'll tell you, man, coming down a mountain, like this hill is straight down and it's probably 8 miles long from the top till you get to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I got 16,000 tons of oil behind me going 50 miles an hour down a hill. And I'm thinking, if the rail breaks, and it could break, we're done. They're like, we're going to be all over the news, all over the world.
For the wrong reasons.
You got to be half nuts, man, to go down those hills. Like, one problem, a rail breaks, you're done. You're gone. You're
goodbye.
Big mess. Yeah, goodbye. But anyway.
All right, Raven. We had you on for 40 minutes. Wow.
Oh, sorry about that.
What are you sorry for? You've given us some quite a few points to look at, and kind of pushing us in the right direction of where we should places that no one else is looking, basically.
You know what, Mike? I study population. I know you think differently about population.
Mm-hmm.
815 million people are hungry right now on this planet. 815 million.
And you know, want to hear something funny? 850 million people are in quarantine in China.
Yeah, that's a lot. I don't know if it's that many. That's quite a few. The thing is, what does it take for that 815 million hungry people to become 5 billion? Like, I'm talking no food. And then they're fighting over toilet paper.
Yeah, they're fighting over toilet paper. That's the toilet paper wars.
You know what? I got 200 rolls of toilet paper. If you want, I can send you some. You could hand out rolls on your show, you know, as awards or something.
Woo!
Hey, so anyways, what was I gonna say? I know my theory is way out there.
That's fine, dude. It's not way out there. It's just like taking it to the streets, basically, and looking at it from ground level, and kind of putting the song together so the lyrics make sense.
It's just from what I've read, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I've looked in all angles and crevices of this world, and I'm not taking their coincidences anymore. That's done. We used them up in 2000.
Coincidences are gone since like way before the time of JFK.
Yeah, but I'll tell you one thing. In 2001, when that guy was sitting in the kindergarten class reading that book upside down, they've gotten a lot better at executing their plans. They've gotten really good at it.
Yeah, they upped their game. Yeah, they upped their ante. I can agree with that.
Yeah. And you know what? In the end, hey, I might be wrong.
Yep. Who knows?
Yeah. It's not guaranteed 100%, but that's the way I see it anyway.
Mm-hmm. All right, Raven, I'm going to let you go.
Okay, get someone on that can debunk my theory and call me nuts or something.
All right, I'll get 3 right guys on right now.
All right, there you go.
Bye.
Bye.
That is the Raven on the show, giving us. Everyone's got a different angle. Everyone's got a story. Everyone's got a way they see things, right? And I know the Raven reads a lot, right? I read a lot. You know, I read specific angles. I kind of, like, if you look at my videos, a majority of them, if you kind of see the angles of the videos, kind of see what I'm trying to say in them, because a lot of times you can't say what you want to say. You got to kind of be careful with that nowadays, right? So we got, who we got in the comments? Man, we got Mike Banks in the comments, as usual. Red Pill Gary, as usual. Toby Cooper, Mike Martians. Supreme Cannon, of course. Lord Humongous. M. Howden in the comments, too. Steve Stevens. We got Stefan. We got lots of people in the comments floating around, which is good. Floating out those comments and getting them out here. A W Pizzette says, Mike is slick with his words. I already lost a channel a long time ago, like my other YouTube channel. I think it was 3,000 or 3,800 subscribers. Fast. Like, and then they're like, no, this guy's got to go. Then I restarted, didn't really put up in too many videos right away. But then this housing thing started really catching my attention about 10 years ago, and I started really going heavy on the housing thing because people don't make enough to live a normal life anymore. Yep. All right, let's see who else we got here. We already had Anthony on the show. We already had let's see if Elijah's still awake. I'm not sure if he's awake, but he was on I tried calling him early because he's got a little bit of kind of a discussion about what's happening in the interior here with a couple of infected people or people that are supposedly infected. We don't know, right? So just getting insights from other people on what's happening. And we already had Liam on the show. He's down in Southeast Asia, and he's been flying around in different airports, kind of seeing the scene as how it goes along. Let's see if we can get 3 right guys game podcasting. Hello?
Yep.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, not too bad. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. All right, so what do you think? What do you think is happening, dude? Like, we brought this up. We've been talking about Mike in the Night. The headline has been coronavirus for the last 5 weeks. And these numbers now that we're seeing coming out of countries like South Korea, Italy, Iran, even the United States of America, they are blowing up. Now, let's call a spade a spade. Is this like the wind? We can't stop the wind. Is Canada doing the right thing where let's just get this done and over with and let's get this reset going now?
Well, no, there is some scientists saying it would be better off if we infect 50% of the herd that gains immunity, and then the virus will have a harder time being able to spread any longer. Basically, immunize the population. That is one angle of it, for sure.
But could we stop this thing? Like realistically, can we really incubate the entire planet from catching this? This is like the wind. Stopping the wind.
No,
I've
there
been
is
saying that
no
all night.
containment. I said over the last 2 weeks and shit's gonna get real in about 2 weeks when fucking America looks like Korea on steroids.
Because right now we're looking at Iran, and Iran, I mean, they don't have enough testing kits, and they're just telling us what they know. And then you got these articles of people delivering people's food that have been asked to be quarantined, and they're not following the orders.
Well, here's a funny angle of that. I guess the Italian government is really wishing that they pulled a Singapore and offered to pay him freaking while he quarantined, pay him and replace his salary. So instead of paying some measly delivery boy salary, now they're paying for thousands of people to be in freaking hospitals, costing multiple millions.
Watch the F-bombs. I know this is really, really intense. I just don't want to get the show flagged is all. But realistically, I know this is a bit... I know, everyone watching this understand. This is not a joke. And...
Here's my question to the Raven. Society breaks down, government goes belly up. How are the elites going to be able to retain that wealth? Not to mention, who's to say an ounce of silver is going to have any value? Who says gold has any value until norms in society is reestablished? Says who? Who's to say Bill Gates is not going to get shot by some Antifa when he submerges from his bunker? Or some fascist says, kill this guy as soon as he pops his head out and he gets his head blasted with his children. The elites, when the system crashes, they have no power. Their throne, their kingdom is in ashes.
It's dethroned, yeah.
The
Thomas
the
Lynn,
elite
thank
can
you
only
for the,
survive in the middle.
Dragovich Thomas Lynn, thank you for the $2 donation here, super chat. I appreciate that. Yeah, I understand. The elites get dethroned because without the peasants or the serfs like us at the bottom, there's no, you know what I'm saying? There's nobody maintaining that infrastructure, right?
There is no elites. If one of the spectrums from the outlinings of the bell curve take over, that's game over for the elites. That's when them and their families get killed, murdered. The elite that we have now can only survive in the center and the center left. They can only survive with Hillary Clinton and light nationalists like Trump, per se, right? They can't survive if someone like Benzo Mussolini takes power. They get killed then. They can't survive Stalinism. You know, they all get axed. They all get guillotined or lynched. So this idea that the virus and they want to control it, there is no controlled demolition. There's no fucking control over this shit as is. This virus is not contained. This virus is going to be quite the problem in 2 weeks. That's when we're going to see the real panicking. Like, someone's going to get shot in a grocery store, let alone someone pulls out a knife.
Yeah, it's gonna go down for real.
Just watch. You know, there is no vaccine. There is no vaccine for AIDS. There is no vaccine for SARS. Yet we're to believe that there's a vaccine in the works? No, there's not. And I've already seen some leaks from some virologists. They're already saying the idea that we'll have a vaccine is like low to none. It's a pipe dream that is being fed to the public. The media is not overhyping anything. They're only providing information in tidbits because they have to provide the information because they got to at least try and keep somewhat up par with social media. or social media saying, "Oh, look, the Chinese government official source, blah." Then at that point, the CNN has like, "Well, we have no choice. We have to declare this information because we're going to keep losing face the more we stick behind the social media catch up." So they've been downplaying everything from the start. So I don't know where this controlled demolition, because the big real disconnect with reality, what Raven's having, is what does post demolition look like? You think it looks like a police state? You think cops are showing up for work? You think the army is going to be doing their job when they're not getting paid?
Well,
No,
of
they're
course,
not.
yeah.
No.
I understand
They'll
your
be
angle. I
desertion.
get too. I'm understanding. For me, like my whole, what I think of this whole entire thing, this whole virus thing, I honestly think it was a mistake that got out of hand. They were accidentally working on something, and then something got swept under the rug, and they didn't expect this to happen. Honestly, they did not expect. And then now it's happening, and it's going down for real. They're going to tell us what they need to tell us to keep us in these different moments in time as we progress in time, to kind of ease it into us that, look, this is the biggest bad deal we've been handed since the Spanish
of our generation. Of our generation,
yeah. So this is something they're going to ease into us slowly. I think, honestly, Canada handing out flyers to people at the airports, I think Canada might have this right in a way, because it's like stopping the wind. We can't stop the wind. And I think this is just going to eventually take its course, just like it's designed to do. And from some guy, some Nimrod in some biolaboratory somewhere in Wuhan, working on something, and then screws it up instead of taking the...
Dr. Chang had a bat pee on him, and he forgot to report it because he was embarrassed, and then it bit him. He didn't want to tell his superiors that a bat pissed on his face because that would be embarrassing.
Right.
So instead, the virus left the lab and he got infected.
Right. But what I'm saying, what I'm trying to say here is that
it's incredibly easy to construct this imaginary boogeyman that's all-knowing versus, because it's a very low IQ, low intelligence way of looking at it. I'm just going to make this make-believe elite that's all-knowing. They're this cabal behind, and they will blame everything on them. When in reality, when you look at the facts, when you look at this virus, there's nothing going to be left of the society that you take for granted. Nothing's going to remotely resemble normal. When people are taking the law into their own hands all over around you, people are just freaking. What are the cops going to do when there's 1 million people committing robberies at once? You're going to deploy martial law. What happens when the military's not getting paid? Oh, these people, man. Military's like, the government's like, we got 6 months worth of food for your army. This shit, I'm going to go see my family. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what happened during the riots a few months ago when Chile was having these massive riots, right? A lot of the police went home to go protect their families, their own families. Right? So, people are recovering from this, so we're seeing that. We obviously know people are recovering, which is a good thing. So this is not going to... People that get reinfected obviously have it a lot worse than, the people that haven't gotten reinfected, of course. So, it's something that's not going to wipe humanity off off the face of the earth, but it's definitely a cause for major concern, and I think it's like, again, we just can't stop this.
Here's the truth. So, like, if you look at it this way, man, it's a lot easier to believe, psychologically speaking, that there's this cabal or elite, because then you're creating an imaginary system in your head to cope with the mechanism, the fact that you're basically believing that there's this situation is even remotely under control. Someone's got to control those elite. When in reality, there is no one controlling this shit, and it's spreading like wildfire across the globe. And that's a fact.
I don't believe, the whole cabal thing where there's like one person or like one or a couple of people that are on top of things. There are people that like to think they are on top of things, but realistically, they're nowhere near where they are. Do you know why? Why do you think they have these stupid secret meetings every year or every couple of months because they never get their point across, or they can never execute what they want to put in place. So what do they have to do? They have to meet up every year, whether it's the Bilderbergs, whether it's this, whether it's that, because they can't. They have to meet every year because they can't get anything straight.
This whole situation is chaotic, man.
Like, all they have to do is meet once every 25 years and say, okay, guys, all right, last 25 years, this is what happened. Our plans are working. No, they got to meet every friggin' year, make a huge spectacle on the media about it. Oh, the Bilderbergs are meeting, or they're having this meeting. Let them have their damn meetings. They obviously, none of it's working out because they got to meet every damn friggin' year.
See, if society breaks down at this point and there's a virus, there's already been, since what, 2016, things have been accelerating so rapidly within the far left and the far right. There ain't going to be a democracy when shit implodes. You're going to be either on a communist dictatorship or you're going to be under a fascist dictatorship, one or the other. And one side has more guns than the other. So you probably, if you were a betting man, I'd bet on the fascists that are going to seize power. Because my freedom, my liberties, those guys are going to get shot in the head so quick, and they're going to be too afraid. They're not radical. Radicals are more dangerous, especially if you put guns in their hands. They'll blow themselves up just to make a point. They'll rush a battalion. You know, and then you go in between the difference between individuality of the left and the Frankenstein patching all these different groups together versus the far right. The far right, well, you look at the Japanese soldiers that fought the Russian tanks in North Korea and during World War II. Those guys were blowing themselves up against tanks. You know, when they got closer and closer
to try and
the kamikaze is not a leftist phenomenon,
right?
Yeah, the left, you know, they had to have what was it? Battalions behind stopping battalions in the Russian army because their troops were routing. Whereas the Nazis, the further they got to Berlin, the more crazy the shit got with the fighting in the streets. That's the difference in the ideology. And then you look at the Islam. Islam is considered class as a far right ideology. They're blowing themselves up all the time.
So we got the Raven in the comments saying, if you don't think this is by design, then you have been asleep at the wheel. It's not that it's not by design.
Here's the thing with Raven. He was too afraid to debate me, so...
I just trying to say, I think that it's not by design. No, let me just say something here. I think they're using it now in their plans. I think this was just a big mistake, especially having it go, or this getting in one of the biggest economic / productive / manufacturing / human labor / hub of the planet, for it to go off in there. Man, that's the worst. If it started in Central or South America and then moved around slowly, then we can start seeing. But for it to go off in the worst place at the worst time economically, and I think, I honestly think it's an accident that happened, that they try to sweep under the rug for the longest time now, and then they're starting to have to be honest with us. And now they're just working it into their plans because they don't have much of a choice right now.
It's just fucking whack-a-mole, man. Like, you know, at the end of the day, I don't really think the elites are that smart. I don't really have that much faith in humanity, and I don't really have much faith in humanity after the shit hits the fan. Right. I think it's more basic and tribalistic, and human nature will play out, and things are going to get ugly and gruesome. Mm-hmm. Because that's more grounded. It's a more grounded opinion. Mm-hmm. You know, these politicians, they're all corrupt, sure. But that's what it is. This is corruption, man. Humans are pathetic, man. Just like we're fucking contaminating and poisoning the planet. I agree. We breed like fucking rabbits. Look at the third world. You're right. This idea that there's this all-knowing cabal and shit, like I said, I think is a load of crap. They're not that smart. They're just regular people like the rest of us.
One, they shouldn't be meeting up every couple of months to get these, either it's this meeting or that meeting or this super meeting and that. Let them meet. Who cares? They never come. They never really accomplish anything. I mean, yeah, they've done stuff, but I mean, how much could they? You know what I'm saying? We're all still here many years later, so
there's multiple groups that want to take advantage of the chaos, and I'm not just talking the elite. If shit hits the fan, you don't think the far right's going to be trying to fucking cattle the fucking sheep, the normies? Mm-hmm. You don't think the far left will be doing this? You don't think both of those sides will be shooting at whatever government's left or trying to fucking seize it?
Mm-hmm. All right.
Think about it. That's human nature, man. You want a glimpse of what the future looks like? Go look at the Serbian War and start reading up on it.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. Yeah. I was actually reading up on that other war there. in Turkey. Was it in Turkey with the Young Turks? That Armenian genocide, that was a huge deal.
Well, that's what it's going to look like in Canada pretty soon. Diversity is our strength, when in reality it just causes chaos.
Mm-hmm.
It's all going to go to hell, man, in a shit handbag, and ain't no one going to be controlling it. It's going to be like an uncontrolled fire with no controlled burn.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There ain't no controlled demolition. There will be a demolition, there will be an implosion, but it's not controlled. It's going to be, like I said, chaotic. And
I think they're just working in, and they're kind of going with the flow as they go along. And
people have too much faith in humanity.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's just me and my outlook, right? I don't got much faith in humanity anymore. Like, look what's going on with your neighbor. They're probably trying to freaking fuck you over right now and defraud you to pay their business's electricity bill and playing games and playing ignorant.
Mm-hmm. No, I understand.
Or look at the vent.
But I like
at the
playing
vent you
in
paid
with
money
them, like
to.
kind of, and then make a good video about it. You know what I'm saying?
Look! When you sold your business in Vancouver, and you paid some guy to clean the vents, and you realized he didn't clean shit.
Yeah, he didn't play.
This is humanity these days.
There was no way to reach
most
the
people
vents
aren't
humanly
trustworthy.
possible, but he charged me every year to clean the vents, and all he did was go up there and maybe watch it, go on his phone for half an hour, and then come back down.
If you got hit by a car in Toronto downtown, I wouldn't even be surprised if no one even freaking on the street looked to make sure you're okay.
Yeah, well,
someone robbed you, attacked you, beat you up.
25 years ago, everybody would stop.
Mm-hmm. This is what I mean. When you destroy culture, when you destroy tradition, you attack it, berate it for freaking almost 60 years, there is effects. That's the issue. We have so many people that they have no grounding anymore. The delusional, the narcissism.
Delusional.
Yeah, there's a lot of delusion and narcissism, man. Like this idea that like I said, I don't got how much faith in humanity. When shit hits the fan, it's going to become very tribalistic.
Well, we'll see what happens. Well, we're going to keep doing the show, Mike in the Night, every Saturday, and I think the headline's going to be the coronavirus. And
it's just going to keep getting worse.
It's going to affect the economy. It's going to affect the housing. It's going to affect markets left, right, and center. It's going to affect our food. It's going to affect our toilet paper. It's going to affect everything. So it looks like it's going to be Mike in the Night, coronavirus night for the next, I don't know, maybe 2 to 6, maybe
for the next
weeks.
2 weeks. It's probably going to be every man for himself, getting groceries and supplies, and then when that breaks down and shit gets real, then it's going to be every group for himself or every group for themselves. Mm-hmm. And then when that fucking cascades, it'll just keep snowballing until it's my neighborhood versus your neighborhood and shit, you people. And then, it'll divide into cultural fucking lines and then racial lines and all sorts of shit. Fucking nasty shit is going to happen because that's human nature. That's just humans, man. That's how we fucking are wired, man. The most primal shit is going to come out. When the luxuries of modern civilization and the stability is gone, you'll get to see what humanity really looks like, and it's fucking ugly. Mm-hmm. And that's more grounded in the future. Just like those elites, I don't think they're all knowing either. They don't got much of a control over this shit either. Mm-hmm. And, the containment on this shit has been a joke. Look how rapidly it's growing. You reach 100, 500, like, you reach between 100 and 500, it just starts skyrocketing, man. Look at South Korea. 7,000 people now. What is
I know,
Italy,
but do you remember
5,000?
like 3 weeks ago when we did a show, you were on, South Korea had 51 cases?
And I said it was going to skyrocket then, and I was right. Said shit's going to get out of hand. And I even said the cruise ship was nothing more than a petri dish for the Japanese government.
Wait, see, Iceland has 50, okay? So I'm watching Iceland now. So Iceland's got 50. So let's watch Iceland now for a while and see where Iceland goes. Because South Korea is just a total write-off right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it's insane. At the end of the day...
Let you go. It's 11 o'clock.
Yeah, one more thing, though.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I've been saying this for a while. If you want a grounding, you don't want to get pulled into all these psyops, all these conspiracy theories, all this load of crap. You need a grounding. For you, it's your Catholic Christian religion, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. For me, it's my nationalism and my tradition. I don't. This idea that there's a make-believe elite that's going to confuse me and freaking screw a bunch of keys in my face. I'm a nationalist. I know exactly what I want at the end of the day. You're a Christian. You know what you want. You follow your religion. Mm-hmm. For the people that don't have that grounding, those traditions, whatever, then they're the ones that are going to be brought and brainwashed, and their brains are going to come out like fucking Swiss cheese, like all these people that believe in flat Earth, for instance. Mm-hmm. Anyways, good night. Have a good one.
God bless you.
God bless you. Ciao for now.
So that is Three Right Guys Game Podcast. He's been coming on the show for like almost 2 years now. So that's what's happening, guys. He's pretty upset about. That's why this is Mike in the Night. This is why it's 11 at night, and that's why this video, my Mike in the Night videos, I kind of cut them up the next morning so I could put on some of the the lighter stuff. And, people come on and it's just what it is. It's just, people want to, explain their points of views, which is very important. Very important. I believe in both sides of the story here. I believe, yes, there's some engineering going on when it comes to how they want to engineer the collapse. I get that. Then I do believe that this is out of control, and I believe that they didn't expect this to happen, and out of all places for it to originate, I think it's all a big, I don't want to say that, but it's a big mess is what it is. And they're allowing this now to play into their game. That's it. That's all I'm saying. The super groups, there's tons of super. I could create a super group tomorrow with 15 guys and start talking about, what could we do this, that, what could we contribute our money towards to start growing bigger and blah, 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 and take it, But the thing is, these groups meet up all the time. Why? Because they're obviously, none of their plans are being followed through. So Bob often said it's 8 p.m. where he's at. And we got someone saying it's all a bruh. It's over, bruh. Yeah, it's over, man. But it's not over. But could this be the event horizon that brings us? All right, let's get. I don't know if Supreme Cannon's still awake, but let's see if he's still awake and get him on the show here real quick, just to ask him, let's wind the show down a bit here. Hey, Supreme, can you wind the show down a bit?
Yeah, I'll take it down a notch or two. Sure.
Wind it down, buddy. Bring it down for us. Do you see what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yes, there's elites. Yeah, but there is some engineering going on. But yeah, I get it. I see it. But then I believe that this thing. I think this was an accident, to really be honest with you. And now they're kind of incorporating it into their thing. And now they're telling us the truth now a couple of weeks down the road when they realize this is out of hand.
Well, all the elites always seem to have money sitting on the sidelines waiting to buy all this stuff for 5 cents on the dollar. If they're going to blow up the world, there's nothing to buy anymore.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think that it seems to me this thing's out of control. Or if there's a purpose, okay, if this wasn't an accident, let's just go with that for a minute. Okay, this wasn't an accident, all right. The Rothschild agents or the Jesuits or all those groups are. I've seen maps with all of those things interconnected too. Okay, now let's just say him. Let's just say Lucifer. Okay, somebody worships Lucifer. All right, and there's this empty spot on the pyramid that all these people are answering to, whether he's actually saying something to him or not, whether it's an interdimensional lizard or let's just say that there's someone who's got all of this coordinated. He's juggling all these balls in the air. It's still going to come down to what's the purpose. They could have owned the world by now a couple times over. It wouldn't even have been difficult. I spelled out a couple scenarios.
You did many times. They could have owned it by 90. They could have had everything by 1945.
They could have had it wrapped up in 45.
They could have had everything in 1915.
Yeah. That's the thing. There was no reason to let it go on this long. I mean, the world in many ways was probably more unified. People forget. We got elites dominating the world, but the royal families of Europe were all intermarried in 1914 and owned 80% of the surface of the earth. If they were all under control, then why the war? You didn't need the war. All you had to do was just take over and start your social engineering in 1915 instead of, say, 1965.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not that easy. It's extremely complicated, but part of the reason for the complication is so that they can cover their tracks, so they can remain hidden. But if you become aware of that, even, okay, not as an organized group, all right, we're just some people talking on a YouTube channel on a Saturday night. Bless your hearts for being here on a Saturday night,
Mm-hmm.
right? Obviously, you want something more than just whatever's on freaking Netflix right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's good. Good to be here with all of you. If there is some great crescendo that they want to bring this to, yeah, that's right, Metal Gear. The world's had many resets. You know, the Rothschilds didn't take down the Romans, and they didn't take down the Holy Roman Empire. And I mean, when we're talking about the Rothschilds, okay, we're talking about a banking group that emerged sometime in the probably late 1600s, actually.
Yep.
I forget exactly when the
1690s.
original debt. Yeah, in the 1690s, yeah, which is around the time that the Bank of England was established as well, 1694, I believe.
Yeah, 1694.
Yeah, but they still used tally sticks. They didn't have a gold standard, but they did have a way of tracking payments, and it brought price stability and all the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's true, Gunter. It started before 65, but 65 seems to be a watershed, right? That's when all of the immigration changed. That's when the silver was taken out of the U.S. dollar, which was, again, the world's reserve currency by that time for over 20 years. So the debasing of the entire world's central currency had already begun. Plus, you had in the late 60s, you had Laurel Canyon, right? Which ostensibly, there's a guy named David McGowan, okay, who did a series on, it's actually on YouTube, about strange happenings in Laurel Canyon and how military intelligence was involved in setting up the hippie movement and the free love movement and all the rest of it. Yeah, the counterculture, exactly. Yeah, that supposedly was a CIA or a military intelligence psyop, and there's a case for that. There's a case for all of those things, and I'm willing to bet that there's some truth to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't completely succeed. You know, that's the thing. It created. You're hollowing out the structure. Okay, you're like termites. You're boring holes into the foundation to try to take it down. Yeah, Americans didn't take down the Soviets like Patton wanted to. Yeah, why didn't they just let Patton keep going?
Mm-hmm.
All they had to do, like I said, all they had to do was pick up the phone and tell Joe Stalin, okay, get your plane ready because you're going to go to Argentina and play golf with Schicklgruber in a couple of weeks, and we're going to get this going, and then we'll just wrap up the Soviet Union, and then we'll kill Mao, and then we'll own everything, right? Because the world, like the European empire still existed in 1945. So there was still an opportunity to control everything. But it didn't work out that way. And the reason it didn't is because they work with influence from behind the scenes. And there's no question they can make targeted assassinations, but they can't do it all the time.
Right.
They have to stay hidden. Yeah, the group of people who are currently in power. Well, we say elites because some of them, frankly, are hereditary. We call them the Laurentian elite in Canada because it's old money that's been here since the time probably of the original, Quebec and Upper Canada settlements.
Yeah, the Hudson settlements.
Yeah, just like the Blue Bloods in New England. They're essentially they're old money because they've been in America for so long. They're basically a form of royalty themselves. Right, like the DuPonts have a political dynasty, and the Rockefellers, everybody knows. But
even
there's been lots of
Kennedys
families.
Had their own little royalty too.
And the Kennedys, well, that was interesting because here you have an Irish Catholic family that wanted to join, right? Like they weren't included, right? I mean, Catholics. JFK was the first Catholic president. Most WASPs did not want Catholics in power.
Of course.
And it's easy to forget in this day and age how powerful those influences were and those sentiments were even less than a human lifetime ago. It was a completely different world, even here in Canada 50 or 60 years ago. It's not the same world that my granddad grew up in, or your folks your grandparents came from, Mike. Yeah. So it's complicated, but that's an advantage for us. It's an advantage for the little guy. Yes, they have all this power. Yes, they have all this influence, and there's no shortage of whores that will sell out their countrymen for money. None whatsoever. Whores everywhere. My God. But if you're aware,
Okay, let
and
me
this is
ask you
what we're
something.
trying to do.
Please.
Sorry, go ahead, Mike. Yeah.
Thank you for winding this down. That was absolutely fantastic. Now, again,
Okay.
I've been saying this all night, and I'm going to ask you:
Mm-hmm.
is this virus like trying to stop the wind? Is Canada been doing the right thing? Just like, come on in. You know what? Let's just take our whoop ass right now and get it over with. Because there's no way of stopping this. Now they're starting to realize, and some what do you call it? Publications are coming forward and saying we just can't stop this anymore.
Yeah, well, it might be there's an argument going on, like, do you want to disrupt the global economy by locking everybody down rather than, they're not going to come out and say we'll accept a certain percentage of casualties. That's a political third rail, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But if it comes down to, a complete financial collapse is going to kill many, many more people than this bug will. Or
Right.
it's gonna be compounding effects, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So those are legitimate political concerns. They're not moral. Okay. They're not nice things. But like I've said before, the people in charge are often called upon to make very ugly decisions about things, and things that, they hope that you never find out about, because you'd probably chase them down the street and hang them. But when you're in power, you don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make these decisions. Canada, obviously, our elites, our political, morass here is committed to open borders and basically turning us into a rainbow cookie collective. I've said it over and over.
Mm-hmm.
I completely believe it's true. They don't have a mandate to redesign the country, but when you've got the GTA, basically in Vancouver, the urban areas deciding our leadership, and they've been insulated from the life that our grandparents would have lived. Even, they've been insulated for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And they've grown up believing that they're right, and there just isn't enough happening to tune them in.
Exactly. That's like right on the money right there. So
Yeah.
Now, realistically, we got this virus coming through. Now we need to pull together. And all we're doing is creating division. We're creating division on this channel. We're always trying. We're always, not that we're purposely trying to, but we all have points of views. But we need to collectively come together for this.
Yeah.
Because I think this, is a lot bigger than anything that we could have imagined to happen. I honestly think, why would they pull the trigger on a pandemic in the biggest economic hub when it comes to production, fabrication, exports, human labor, like the whole 9 yards? Why would they pull the trigger on a pandemic in one of those zones, knowing that it would actually speed up this thing right across the planet? If it happened somewhere in Central and South America, we probably wouldn't even hear about it till today.
Oh no, they've had earthquakes and floods, and good God, we were, a couple of weeks ago when I was on camera there, we were talking about the Hong Kong flu. 1 in 6 people in Hong Kong died in 1968. I didn't know that.
That's right.
Nobody knew that. Nobody cared about that. That's, keep it over there, man. That's fine. That kind of thing. Yeah, there's, tsunamis and earthquakes and those huge mudslides they have in Central and South America. And, sometimes 100,000 people get wiped out by a cyclone in Bangladesh. And, oh, what a shame. And, what's for lunch, right? You just go on with your life. Well, here's something, thanks to globalism, that is about to come and bite us all in the kneecap. Every single one of us is going to get bit by this. Some will be bit hard, some won't be. It won't be bad everywhere. It's just going to be the supply chain for the people who are not financially stable, which is a large part of the population. But even in Canada, 40% of people own their homes free and clear. It's not going to be a complete massacre. Obviously, someone who, like Steve, for example, who's a plumber, right, who runs a service company, those kind of people, there's still going to be lots to do, and people with money to pay them to do it. Mm-hmm. Even the Great Depression, you had 25% unemployment, which is terrible, but that's 75% employment. It's not the end of everything. The problem that we have right now is it's not just a demand shock. Like cutting interest rates won't do anything. They're trying to stimulate demand. Well, there might be demand, but if you've got 5 million manufacturing companies in Wuhan producing little gadgets that are supposed to go into things produced elsewhere, right? Then production of all kinds of things grinds to a halt all over the civilized world until they find an alternate source of supply or until China gets things going again. So, like I've said, there's going to be this huge air pocket. It's going to be like flying on an airliner, and all of a sudden you hit turbulence and you drop 5,000 feet in like 60 seconds.
Right.
Right. And hopefully everyone had their seatbelt on. Because it's gonna be rough, but they'll get control of it. The big thing is that they'll lower interest rates to try to stimulate demand, but everyone is tapped out. Number one, and number two, there's nothing to buy.
Right.
So,
because again, they pull.
There's no manufacturing.
If they pulled this trigger in the biggest production region of the planet, that would like shooting themselves in the foot.
It's if it's now the concept here is, and I've been the devil's advocate about this too. If it is controlled, then the idea is you've got all these tycoons and oligarchs and other people sitting on the sideline waiting to buy us for 5 cents on the dollar.
But then what if these oligarchs and all these big guys start getting sick too?
Well, that's probably going to happen as well.
Again, I think that this was an accident. And now they're working it into the grand scheme of things now. Because now I'm seeing a lot of media kind of saying, you can't stop the wind. It's something you can't control. And it's something that's going to happen. And the people that are prepared will be the ones that will be better off. And that's what they're saying. They weren't saying that 3 weeks ago.
No.
3 weeks ago, they were telling us, don't worry. It's, it's not that bad of a thing. It's just a mild this and mild that.
Yeah, it's just a cold, bro. Yeah. Yeah. Well, for some people, apparently that's all it will be. For others, it will be absolutely disastrous. That's the difference. It will be like a flu. Most people get flu, and it's a couple of days of discomfort and inconvenience. And but you have 10,000 a year that die from it, and they're not all old people. Sometimes it's little kids, right? Like it's real tragedy.
It's tragic, yeah.
Right. So this is something that may be more virulent, and it kills more of the vulnerable. That's not good. We'll see. We're going to have to wait and see. I would not be surprised if this thing has been circulating in North America for several months already.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I think, I don't know if you remember, but second week of December, I was so sick.
Yeah, I was too.
I was so sick. And I was bedridden for December 25th, 26th, 27th. I was very sick. Then I got a little bit better, and then everything was okay, and then I started kind of getting back to it, and then I got sick again, and it was worse.
Yeah, I had a real bad one. I was out for a week, and then about just right around Christmas time, I had another one that took me out for a couple of days.
Yeah, my whole family got it twice.
It's funny because I was on Twitter today, and there was it's an EMS guy. He works on those oil rigs in the Gulf of Mexico, and a friend of his chimed in, and he said, I was sicker than a dog. And I went in, to get tested, and they ran flu tests on him. He had all flu symptoms, but they ran all the flu tests on him, the whole battery, and it wasn't anything that they identified. Mm-hmm. They said it wasn't the flu. Don't know what it was. So it's entirely possible that some of us have already had it. Because if this originated, say, in December, well, you had people traveling all over China and all over the world. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, it was really busy at Chinese New Year because everyone was free to chat because all the industry was shut down. But this stuff has been circulating all over. Now, I've said, too, where the elites are concerned, right, these are evil psychopaths. All right, the people that go to Bilderberg and they go to all these meetings and, they go to these climate meetings and luxury resorts. They fly over there to decide what they're going to do to us next, right, basically. Okay, now they don't love each other. What's happening in Iran right now? If Iran is some kind of a puppet state, okay, well then why is half their leadership dying in this damn thing? I'm inclined to think
leadership is dying of this thing. Yes,
I think would not be surprised if these people are stabbing each other in the back over this too. That's part of it. I would not be surprised if some of them are actually executing each other with this thing.
Okay, here it
Right.
is 5 hours ago. Death toll rises to 145 Iran. The true face of Iran. Let me see what we got here. Cases jump in Iran and Italy. Response to the coronavirus just making everything more complicated. Coronavirus cases pass 100,000. I'm just trying to see if there's anything specific to Iran here. Bodies pile up in morgue in Iran. So it's I think Iran's been putting the brakes on this whole reporting what they know thing because they know it's crazy. One country I think that hasn't been putting the brakes on anything is Italy.
No, well, those 3 provinces that we were talking about 2 Saturdays ago are completely locked down now. There's 16 million people in an enforced quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
They're completely locked down, just like Wuhan.
Yeah, their entire north right now is from the New York Times.
And that's coming elsewhere.
Yeah, and
obviously.
then you got a leap in coronavirus tests, limits Italy's health system. I don't even think they know how to test for this, honestly. I really don't. I think they have an idea of how to test for it. I really don't think they really know how to test for it, or when, or how far long enough a person needs to have this before it will show conclusive. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but again, a place like Iran is corrupt. China is also corrupt. That's the thing too. These places are incompetent. They're corrupt. They're clueless, and we're completely exposed to them and their own habits, okay, and their own mindset through this open borders kind of globalized trade and people rolling around. Apparently, patient zero in Italy, right, is a Pakistani migrant that refused to self quarantine.
Right, and he was out delivering Chinese food.
Yeah, what was he doing there?
No idea.
Like, what was he doing there? He had no business being there. And that's what I mean. It's the idea as well. We'll just let everybody just mingle and get along and just be friends and just love one another. And a few girls get raped and a few cars get burned. But we're talking about a new world here, people. You know what I mean? Like obviously you have a lot of that mindset too, and they're just stupid. They're not, I'd call them evil, but because I'm completely opposed to them in every way possible. But I don't think they're evil. I think those ones are just stupid.
Okay.
They just don't know.
Hear me out. Italy calls in retired doctors to help combat the coronavirus epidemic. So they're calling in several hundred doctors across the country that are permanently retired to come back out of retirement.
Well, they need someone to tend to these people specifically. Right, it's going to be you're going to see nurses and you're going to see other EMS people like that. I think you're going to see them deputized just to look specifically after corona patients.
But what's going to happen now with places like that don't have test kits, like Africa, South America? What's going to happen to those kind of to those countries? Australia is playing this off like there's nothing to worry about, nothing to see here. So is Canada. But what if these countries are in the know, like where it's like we can't stop it. Period. There's no way to stop this.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be if governments above all want to stay in power. Okay. If they don't make any moves at all to stop this, or it's been realized that it didn't happen because the president's brother-in-law, who was in charge of the health ministry, sold all the test kits, so he could buy more blonde bimbos and cocaine, right? The people are going to be a little bit upset when this is all over, or even in the midst of it, right? There's going to be torching, and there's going to be buildings taken down and burning cars, and that's not good business. Remember, these people are primarily businessmen. Okay, they're running rackets. They're racketeers. They're gangsters, right? They're in this for money. They're in it for profit. They want control. But I don't even think it's all that much about eugenics. They're just trying to do things to make us be unable to resist.
Right.
Just as much as possible. Confused. Families busted up. right? So everybody spends all their time getting high and clubbing and, dropping ecstasy. And, look at the number of people in government that have drug problems now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Where elites are concerned, eventually this crap gets on them too. I can remember, I remember watching a DVD years ago, and it was this guy who used to be a metal guitarist, and he became a pastor. Okay, so he did this series called "Sold Their Souls for Rock and Roll," and he was talking a lot about the music scene, right? Like the Process Church and Charlie Manson, and I think Laurel Canyon even tied into it, and all this stuff here, right? How they were going to use music to break down society, which is also something that Plato warned about 2,000 or 3,000 years ago. You have to be careful about the music that people are listening to, because it excites emotions and it excites destructive behaviors, right? That kind of thing, rebellion. And one of the interviews, and it was all on VHS, the interview, so obviously they were from a while. It was Anton LaVey. Remember that guy?
Probably.
Church of Satan.
Oh yes,
funky
yes,
looking guy, look like Dracula, right? Yeah, well, his right hand man and his wife, and they said, we don't let our children watch television because it's a satanic altar, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, like they keep their kids out of it. Like Snoop Dogg, his kids go to public school or a private school, right? He's not gonna let them get high on the supply that he's feeding all these other kids, okay? Because they understand what they're doing very well. But the problem is these kids, it starts to leak into their bunker too. Look at the Obama kids, right? Like they were videoed at college doing things college kids do and getting high and all that stuff. Yeah, he probably was Lord H. I wouldn't be shocked. Probably a Sabbatean or a Frankist. And the elites, their kids, look at Hunter Biden, right? Joe Biden's kid. Mm-hmm. I would think if anybody was connected and could be considered part of the elites or at least a useful puppet, it would be Joe Biden. His kid is a crackhead with bastard kids running around all over the place. The guy's a complete loser. Like he's not generating any value for the concern. He is dead weight. You know what I mean? Like he's highly educated and intelligent, but he's a crackhead.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
How long do you think before they impose martial law in the United States? If China's got martial law, I mean, a couple of countries already have imposed martial law. How long do you think before the United States cracks down and says, okay, enough is enough? Do you think 2,000 dead, 3, 5, 10?
Where the U.S. is concerned, the hysteria will spike long before the casualties do, just because the media will be all over it. They're going to whip it up and, oh my God, what they'll say, Trump's trying to kill us all. And whether you think it's political kabuki or not, that's what's going to happen. So let's just run with it. Okay. So I don't think it'll be a matter of martial law. It'll be a matter of states one by one, and then probably in clumps, declaring a state of emergency. And if someone refuses to do that, then all of the states around it will declare a state of emergency.
Because your friend Obama there, Barack.
My buddy Barry, yeah.
Yeah, Barack, who his full name is Barack Hussein Obama. Your buddy there put all these executive orders into place. Yeah,
that mocha cloud of chocolatey goodness. He's just a great guy. Yeah, he put these people into place. Yeah, and I think the other side. This is why I say it's an elite civil war, because a lot of these people are getting outmaneuvered and getting booted out. Somehow they're not going to prison, but a lot of them are not working in Washington anymore. And you're also talking about, and a lot of these guys see it too. They're talking about the ones that are taking off to New Zealand. Apparently, the CEO of Twitter is talking about going to Africa, like literally just getting right out of the Americas altogether. Probably somewhere non-extradition, because I think most of these people are connected to some really, really bad folks, and they probably were bankrolled by really, really bad folks to begin with.
Right.
Because most social media in the end seems to be data collection, or at least it gets eventually shanghaied into data collection.
Well, that's exactly, yeah. It's almost like giving a million people giving in resumes, and then all they're doing is just taking people's information, right?
Yes, and where a lot of these people are concerned, I think they're like us. Their finger is just kind of shaking. It's just quivering back and forth on the trigger. Okay, when do I go home and stay there? When do I get out of here? When do
I'm
I
thinking
leave?
the same thing. When do I? If this gets bigger here which it is, I'm gonna start stopping my Friday night game nights to stop people from interacting. And
Yeah.
then the week after, if it starts getting really out of control and they start closing schools, I'm just gonna close my store down for a couple of months. I have nothing. I'm not worried. You know what I'm saying?
It's not an issue for you. No,
No.
no. No, that's the thing. But people that work in at the big box store, or they work in in a doctor's office, or work at a factory. At what point in time they'd be like, well, come on, someone give the order to go home. Like, some people are going to be scared. They're going to be nervous much earlier, and some, of course, are like, oh, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Until people are literally dropping dead on the streets. I mean, who the hell knows what this thing's going to do when it gets here? Like, you worry, oh, don't worry, you're immune to it. It only hits Asians, or don't worry about it. You're between this age and that age, or don't worry about it. You're at this latitude and not that latitude. No, I don't. I'm not willing to take that risk. I don't think so. But it's going to come down to, they need guidance from someone. They need someone higher up to say, okay, we're giving them continuity. Everybody go home at the same time. Okay, and your hydro and your phone company and your data company, okay, you're not going to send these people a bill until this is over, because the people aren't working. They're not going to be able to pay it anyway. So, you provide the services and we'll cover the bill, or whatever. Something will happen, okay? I think, like China, what they're doing is ghastly, but what's happening is ghastly. They're doing it right. The sooner they get it stopped, the sooner they go back to work.
Right.
And they go back to work while the rest of us are still dithering about, well, do I lock this down, or, should I just take more oil of oregano, or, we know what I mean? Like, they're going to be decisive. This is what I fear the most, is that China comes out of this further ahead than we do. I don't want them to win.
Well, they're draconian measures, shutting cities down, and they might be ahead of us at the end of this game. You never know, because I know those draconian measures they're putting in place look brutal, but maybe it's something that needs to happen sometimes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Well, that's what needs to happen if it's legitimate. I mean, if this virus was what if it was just to control up? Right? What if there was no virus? It's just an excuse to lock everybody down. Wouldn't that be economic warfare by China against the rest of us?
Right.
You remember me saying on Trends in the Housing Market that all the Chinese government would have to do is order all of those real estate developers over here to sell all of their properties and repatriate the money to China and give them, say, 6 months to do it. That would collapse the North American real estate market, probably the Commonwealth.
Well, our economies are heavily dependent on housing.
Yeah, which would then collapse our banks, which would then collapse our economies.
Right.
And there you go. Civil war, mass death, supply chain disruption. Yeah, I tend to agree, Raven. I think China is finished. I think they're certainly finished as a contender to become the world's dominant superpower. I think that's over. I don't think it was going to happen anyway, just because of their debt load and the fact that they are, like I've said before, the term Chinese fire drill exists for a reason. Communism is corrupt and incompetent and violent and greedy, and people who are trapped in it look after themselves and nobody else.
They're severely oppressed.
They're not, only the SJW types are the ones who are going to be collectivist. Everybody else looks after themselves. They hoard whatever they can. There's black markets, guaranteed. So yeah, exactly, Gunter. China was always a paper tiger. It can be a powerful place when they're united simply because of their numbers. But the only reason that they're as technically advanced as they are is because they stole it from us. If we didn't just out and out give it to them.
Right.
So China, Drag, you're right. China's not finished. I mean, China's not going to disappear. Okay, but they're going to get whacked economically really hard, just like the rest of us.
You know what I hope happens with China, to be honest with you? I really hope that Tibet and all those other countries that don't want to be part of China finally get independence.
Oh, if the communist government collapsed, that would be fine with me.
Yeah. I just hope all of these countries can be sovereign again and be free.
Yeah. China will be around for 10,000 years. That China's not going anywhere. They may even be able to stay a united country. But yeah, if they had enough economic blowout that places like Tibet were able to get free. If they had an economic collapse like the Soviet Union did, so that the constituent parts that are there against their will could get free.
Right.
Then that would be the best outcome. And that's fine. There's lots of people there. That's a huge market. We can trade with the new regime.
That's right. Exactly.
And
then people could be
Yeah.
free to practice whatever religion they want, free to practice speak whatever language they want, and
Yeah.
free to, instead of shoving, languages down people's throats and trying to convert them into other, which they're not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They want to spread global communism all over the world. Well, this is the other thing too. If you wanted to reduce the world population, global communism will do it. You don't need to do it beforehand.
No.
Enough people will die of starvation and mass murder to fix that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that everywhere that has a machine shop can produce weapons. Did you see those? What do they call them? Hellfire cannons or whatever they were using? Hell cannons they were using
Supreme
in Syria.
cannons.
Supreme cannons, even, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. That might have gotten a name if the war had lasted longer. Just a steel tube with a metal plate, and they made bombs out of propane tanks,
Mm-hmm.
like you use for your barbecue. Like you can make all kinds of destructive stuff. You could have a guerrilla war going on for 1,000 years. They have to get people to buy into this.
They do.
This is the thing. It's always a matter of you need to slowly boil the frog, right? But I think they've gone too fast. And the reason is, for some reason, and actually Angela brought it up in the comments after last week's video, they're on a time schedule. And I think that has something to do with their religion.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some astronomical reason why they feel constrained, that they have to make things happen within a certain period of time. Otherwise, if they thought they were getting too exposed, all they'd have to do is just back off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Tell their
lapdog media to, put a little more I Love Lucy on and a little less, softcore porn, right? Just roll. Well, what is most TV now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just roll it back for a while, and then start boiling the frog again. They've gone too far.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. They've gone too far, and I think that the masks have dropped, and it was a mistake. And I think that their most radical groups, like the real social justice warrior, loony left types, I think they're running the show now. I think they've gotten away on them. I don't think that these people, they've done too good a job. Remember, I said anybody grows up in that bubble and lives in that bubble becomes part of that bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they literally cannot think like you and me anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what I believe. These people, they made these NPCs, these drones. Okay. The problem is it's not time to set the drones loose, but the drones are getting away on them, and their own children, the ones that they're supposed to pass this all on to, are crackheads. And whores.
Yeah.
And they spend all their time, publicly, public debauchery. They don't even hide it. And the old guard is starting to die off. And
yes,
I think,
it is.
like so many of the rest of us, they haven't managed to pass their values to their children,
Mm-hmm.
because this virus has gotten them too. I don't mean coronavirus. I think you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's not selling. And it's creating really, really hardened resistance on the other side. It's not just a matter of a mopping up operation. They've discovered, to their horror, that there is an enormous and extremely resistant army prepared to oppose them at every turn, and they're actually starting to succeed in places. Mm-hmm. Like they're trying to run for the exit. It's like you're trying to run the last 10 yards for a touchdown, but the entire team, the other opposing team, is suddenly starting to show up in front of you. And you've got to get through them, and you can't do it.
Yeah, like Buddy is saying here that the cults, who is it? True Tech says cults make stuff up as they go along. It's like renegotiating the rules as you go along to your benefit.
Yeah, that's right. And Tig Nem, you said their children are involved with Pizzagate. Man, if that's real, these people are out of their minds.
Yeah,
and people who are out of their minds.
Money corrupts. Money corrupts everybody. Power corrupts. We know that.
Power corrupts. That's right. And that kind of corruption is what brings empires down. Even secret empires, guys. Mm-hmm. Even secret ones. even ones that you can't see that have been operating in the shadows for centuries, okay, get corrupted. They've had absolute power, as close to absolute power, that they can regard us as nothing more than toys for 200 years. You know what I mean? Like those empires collapse too.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole thing might just go out with a damp squib, and then we all go back to normal life. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see. I don't doubt that there's controlling going on, but I don't think that it's complete. Right. Because I think that they had the world in the palm of their hands several times. Yeah. I think they blew their shot, and it doesn't mean that they're not going to come close and there's not going to be massive casualties but I think it's going to be a race to the finish line, whatever that finish line is. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean they're going to win.
No, obviously.
You think of the Die Hard movies, right?
Right.
You got the hijackers, and they got the building, and they're completely control of everything, and they've got hostages, and and they're centrally controlling, and they've set their price, and they're killing people, and they're prepared to kill whoever they need to. But in the end, there's always that one guy, right?
That basically backfires their whole plan and throws a monkey wrench in the plan.
That's right. There's always that one guy. There are white hats in their midst too. They're not uniform.
Right.
They don't like each other. And part of the reason they hate each other is because they're all trapped in the same blackmail.
Exactly.
And they know that when it come close to the time that you can grab ultimate power, they're going to be killing each other way faster than they're going to be killing any of us.
It's like crime families taking each other out.
Yeah. They still want, in the end, to only have one in charge.
That's right.
So they're fighting themselves just as much as us. That's how I see it.
Okay.
So in the meantime, what do Joe and Jane average? What do people like us do? We can debate this until we're blue in the face. You know what I mean? And I don't think it hurts to reinforce, why we're talking about these things, because we're not imagining it. Like there are a lot of things that come together and facts that don't seem to add up the official story. So it's like, okay. So a lot of things that we've been told are not true. Okay, good. That's good. That's a good thing. Because now you can say, okay, well, what is true? What are they going to do? And what is our reaction going to be? When the chaos breaks out, what kind of order can we create?
Right.
Right? For every evil empire, there's a rebel alliance.
Right. There's always something brewing, right?
Yeah. So what should it be? And if there is such a thing as good and evil in the world, as an actual force, if you will, okay, then evil is parasitical. They need us to do the things that they need done.
Of course. How's the infrastructure going to function without us?
Yeah, they don't construct anything. They don't make anything.
No.
They're you know what I mean? They don't create. And anything they do create is a perversion of the things that were already created.
Right.
So that's the thing. And for, the skeptics in the audience, you don't have to be biblically minded to see that. Right? Yeah, you can create order out of chaos with deception. Absolutely, Mike Banks. Yeah. So here we are in our little cabal, plotting how we're going to bring order out of this chaos for ourselves and how do we win.
Right.
Because we can come out of this fairly anti-fragile, guys. You're going to create global chaos. The world's a big place. Totally they're not going to control it all. That's what I see out there. So yeah, I don't want to. No, you're probably right, Raven. 3 days of food in the average house. We're not talking about them, brother. I know. We're talking about saving ourselves here. I would love to save as many people as I can, but the elites are also a race against time, because most people, they're 3 days of food away from complete chaos in the streets.
Well, a lot of people are $100, $200 away from being on the streets too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and I mean, we've got huge farms and food production facilities and things like that, and the companies that built them are the only ones really, really qualified to operate them, and they've got to operate. I mean, business, again, these people are also business. They're greedy.
You're not going to get elites going out to farm.
No, they don't want to farm. No, they might have vineyards, in their castles or something like that. Yeah, but yeah, you're right, Leaf. I don't want to see suffering. There's so much suffering. My God, it's a hellscape out there, guys. Who has stable, well-paid employment anymore? Who has an intact family? Okay, who, even the people who go to church, and there's not that many of them. There's still quite a few. Okay, but how many are going there and getting fed with what they need?
Right.
Anymore? There's just no one is. There's just seems to be no star to steer by anymore, and that's why I've said you've got to have your own internal code to live by.
Mm-hmm.
You got to decide what's right for you, because in a time of complete moral chaos like we have, you've got to decide for yourself what is right and what is wrong, and then you've got to follow the correct path.
Yeah. All right, Supreme. I'm gonna let you go because I'm falling asleep.
Yeah, I am too. Yeah, it's great show. Great to interact with all of you, and let's not be afraid of debate. Okay, but what I would like to see, all right, and it's your show, and it belongs to you guys too, the viewers, just like me out there in TV land.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would like to see is solutions.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I understand the problems. But I think that it's still going to come down to, okay, what do we individually do? That's what I hammer on. That's what Mike hammers on. And there's lots of great tips in the comments. Anybody who's prepped, anybody in an urban setting, okay, if it comes down to be a depression, a Great Depression 2.0, okay, we need to know where to get stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that we share that information with each other, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that the entire world's economy is going to, if it collapses, it's going to get powered down. It's going to get powered down badly, right? There's going to be a huge demand shock because people need things to live, and there's all these people want to sell it to them and they can't because various parts of the planet have been locked up. I think that we're going to wind up with economic regions in the end. We're not going to have globalism anymore. We're going to have specific economic regions that basically look after themselves, and then the regions trade with each other. Mm-hmm. I think that's next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, boss. We'll have you on the show next week, and we'll continue this discussion. You
betcha. Thanks, Leaf, and Raven, and everyone who called in tonight. And thanks, Mike. God bless, and we'll talk soon.
We'll talk soon. All right, guys, it's the end of the show, guys. I am falling asleep. We're gonna have Mike Banks on next week. We'll have a couple other people on that messaged me. We'll get them on next week, guys. I want to, last plug for the show. Go ahead and join the show right here if you want to join and donate to the show. $1 a month. If you want to follow me on Patreon, I'm still on Patreon, guys. People are still following me on there. I'll give you my Instagram, guys, if you want to come on Instagram and send me any show tips. Go ahead and send me show tips here, or you could actually have, hold on. I got people asking me, man, you are so lost, man. Where are you? Lots of people messaging me here. Holy smokes. Okay, let me give you my Facebook. You guys could send me some show tips on Facebook. What else, guys? If you want to buy something at the shop, go ahead and buy a Mike in the Night sticker, mug, cover for your phone, t-shirt. Lots of cool Mike in the Night stuff. And you could send me a tip on PayPal. All links are located at the top right of the channel. And anyways, guys, one last Gemini crew here. Here he goes, Mike in the Night.
Gemini King, Mike in the Night, and the Gemini crew. Ooh. The night, you're here with Mike in the Night. Let's just talk about the world. Give this page another turn, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Everything's alright when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Giving the world light when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Sometimes things are just absurd, so let's just talk about the world, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world. Give this page another curl, 'cause you're here with us tonight.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a good